What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. King of Curses 1KCO1. There is no lower limit for the opening copy Jujutsu. Ouch, it hurts. Am I not dead? Bai Ye woke up from the pain and realized that he was not at the scene of the car accident. Just a few seconds ago, he was so angry about the plot of the manga, Jujutsu Kaisen, that he was still immersed in his anger while crossing the road. So he accidentally got hit by a car. Bai Ye, who thought he was doomed, found out that he not only didn't die, but also had no injuries at all. It's just that the scenery in front of him made him confused. Did I time travel? And I time traveled to the world of Jujutsu Kaisen? Bai Ye looked at the rows of torii gates in front of him, as well as the buildings in front of the torii gates, and couldn't believe his eyes. No wonder. Because the place he is in now is where one of the plots that made him so angry happened. Tokyo Prefectural Jujutsu High School, Mount Tengu. Bai Ye quickly checked the time on his phone. Jujutsu year 2006. The time is exactly 3 p.m., which means, I have traveled to the day when Tenshin Riko and Tengen merged into Star Plasma Vessel. It's 4 hours after the cancellation of Tenshin Riko's bounty. There's still time. Realizing this, Bai Ye became slightly excited. It's the kind of excitement that makes him feel hopeful about changing the fate of a character who was drawn to die by the author. Such a sensible and likable Tenshin Riko actually got killed in the story. Unforgivable. Just as Bai Ye finished speaking, a mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations, host, the system has been activated. The system has been activated. Scanning host information, confirming host identity. Bai Ye wasn't too surprised, but rather a little excited. Having read countless novels, he naturally understood the function of the system. A must-have for transmigrators. Would you like to claim the system's big gift package? The system prompted. Is there even a need to think about it? Claim. Bai Ye directly claimed the gift package. Congratulations to host Bai Ye for obtaining Jujutsu, Infinite Replication. Congratulations to host Bai Ye for awakening the domain, Absolute Assimilation. Congratulations to host Bai Ye for obtaining the body of Heaven and Curse Endowment, at the cost of transmigration. Advertisement. Following the prompts, a system panel appeared before Bai Ye, visible only to himself. Host. Bai Ye. Level. Super Special, Jujutsu. Infinite Replication, perfectly replicates all spell information known, and enhances it by 10 times, even objects can be replicated. Spell. Sniff. By hearing the name of the spell, one can know the information of the opponent's spell. Domain. Absolute Assimilation. In this domain, all spells and domains will be assimilated and incorporated as one's own, with absolute control. Body. Heaven and Curse Endowment, contrary to Heavenly Restriction, 0 curse power users. Heaven and Curse Endowment possesses infinite curse power. Very good. Bai Ye felt a little excited in his heart, but more importantly, he felt confident. Not only did he obtain such an incredible jujutsu and spell, but he also successfully awakened the pinnacle of jujutsu battles, domain expansion. Now, I should be able to successfully save those characters who were killed off by wicked authors. Most importantly, absolute assimilation gives me a foundation to compete with the Jujutsu King, Ryomen Sukuna. I'm really looking forward to Sukuna in his prime. Who will be stronger? I'm afraid for someone like Sukuna, the domain is just the starting point. A gleam of determination flashed in Bai Ye's eyes. He was very much looking forward to Sukuna in his prime. After awakening the system, he had a bold idea, but for now, it's more important to save Teniri Riko. Without further ado, Bai Ye quickly advanced towards the top of the Torii Gate. As he approached the end of the Torii Gate, the sound of destruction caused by the battles reached Bai Ye's ears. Boom. Crash. Kang. A familiar voice came. Gojo Satoru's technique smoothly shifted. It was also because of this voice that Bai Ye successfully rewrote the Unlimited Jujutsu without limits. Bai Ye continued to maintain the technique of smell. Congratulations, host Bai Ye, for successfully rewriting Unlimited Jujutsu. Upon hearing the system's prompt, Bai Ye slightly slowed down his speed, while at the same time on his system panel. Under the Jujutsu category, Unlimited Jujutsu appeared successfully. Under the technique category, the technique, Unlimited Jujutsu, appeared with the shift of Kang. Not long after, the sound of battle ended, replaced by another deep voice. The sensation. Should have recovered a bit. Gojo Satoru and Zenin. No, should I say the battle with Fushiguro Toji has ended? Bai Ye thought to himself. This might be a good opportunity for an experimental idea. Advertisement. Bai Ye no longer hesitated, his movements became even faster. When he arrived at the scene of the battle, he saw no trace of Fushiguro Toji, only Gojo Satoru lying in a pool of blood. defeated by the owner of Heavenly Restriction, Fushiguro Toji. This is also Gojo Satoru's only defeat so far. Gojo Satoru is currently only a second-year high school student, after all, he is still too young. But it was also because of this defeat that Gojo Satoru achieved a magnificent rebirth. He successfully awakened the reverse technique. Seeing Gojo Satoru barely breathing, covered in blood, there were no signs of awakening the reverse technique. Bai Ye quickly approached and crouched down to Gojo Satoru, saying, "Focus all your nerves on the reverse technique." Gojo Satoru, who was on the verge of death, heard these words and struggled to open his eyes. He only saw the handsome profile left by Bai Ye as he left. Who is this person? The cursed power on him is so strong. And how can he have no limits in Jujutsu? Gojo Satoru's 6 eyes helped him see that Bai Ye possessed the same Jujutsu as him. And even stronger than him. There was no time for him to think, so he quickly followed Bai Ye's instructions and focused his attention on the reverse technique. Cursed power is a negative force that can strengthen the body, but it cannot regenerate it. Therefore, the same negative force must be multiplied, and negative times negative equals positive. This is the reverse technique. Bai Ye knew that even without his words, Gojo Satoru would still comprehend this and awaken the reverse technique. However, whether he said these words or not, it held extraordinary significance for him. Without wasting any more time here, Bai Ye quickly headed to the lowest level of the high-grade sorcery school. He wants to stop Fushiguro Megumi there and save the sensible and likable, star plasma body, Tengen Rizumu. P.S. This paragraph is 300 characters, the main text is 2000. This is a niche work, seeking all kinds of support. The author is getting old, but as long as the data is acceptable, they will continue writing. Moreover, the author is a fan of the original work and has caught up with the latest manga. It starts from the Gojo Satoru flashback arc and should eventually synchronize with the anime. So there may be many characters that have not yet appeared in the anime, but introductions will be provided, which will not affect the reading experience. The author was infuriated by the original manga by the author, Akutami Gerger. Not only did they not draw the cute little sister, but they also didn't draw Nanami Hai, and they almost killed my favorite character, Fushiguro Megumi. If I could, I would have made them disappear. It's really despicable. Character introductions. 1. Fushiguro Megumi, originally named Zenin Megumi, is a heavenly restriction user, a zero cursed energy user, but can sense cursed spirits with their 5 senses and has physical resistance to cursed energy. 2. Star Plasma Body, Tengen Rizumu, the suitable candidate for Heavenly Origin Lord. 3. Heavenly Origin Lord, the author guesses that this guy is not a good person, has the technique of immortality, but not eternal youth. When they accumulate a certain degree of aging, their technique will attempt to transform their body and evolve into a higher dimensional existence that is no longer human. Once every 500 years, they must assimilate with a human, star plasma body that meets the conditions in order to reset their body information, rejuvenate their physical body, and restore the original effect of their technique. Thanks to the power of the Heavenly Origin Lord, the barriers that allow the higher education institutions to become strongholds in the Jujutsu world, as well as the numerous auxiliary supervisory barriers, have all been greatly strengthened. Without the support of the Heavenly Origin Lord, the protection of the barriers and the execution of missions will no longer proceed smoothly. O2 rewrite the cursed spirit operation to save the astral body, seeking flowers. The lowest level of Gaojian, the path to the Hongxing Palace. When Bai Ye arrived, he happened to see TNA Lizzie bidding farewell to Miss Heijing Meili, who was taking care of herself. Heijing Meili bowed deeply with tears in her eyes and apologized. "I can only accompany you here, Miss Lizzie, please take care." Before Heijing finished speaking, TNA suddenly hugged her tightly and cried, "Heijing, I like you the most. Always, and in the future too." Bai Ye was deeply moved by this scene and couldn't help but think of the tragedy that was about to happen next. TNA Lizzie's death. Unforgivable. I absolutely cannot let such a sensible and lovely Lizzie die at Shenner's hands. Since I have traveled to this world, I must make sure that all the outcomes in this world go according to my heart. Bai Ye clenched his fists and made up his mind to stop Fuhei Shenner. The main hall of the Hongxing Palace. Under the Tianyuan, the foundation of the country's major barriers. Under a huge sacred tree surrounded by 4 or 5 houses. Xia Youjie appeared here with TNA Lizzie. Bai Ye also rewrote the walls and disguised himself as a wall, hiding his tracks not far away. Xia Youjie didn't notice Bai Ye nearby and, after walking out of the passage, pointed in a direction for Lizzie, saying, "You have to go down this staircase, pass through a door, and keep walking until you reach the roots of that big tree. There, it is different from the barriers surrounding Gaojian, it is the interior of another special barrier. Only the summoned person is allowed to enter. Before assimilation, Lord Tianyuan will protect you. Or you can turn around now and go home with Miss Heijing." TNA Lizzie seemed slightly surprised and curious. Bai Ye, at this moment, was unusually calm, as everything was still within his expectations. Xia Youjie explained to Lizzie, I discussed this with Wu before meeting you. What if the star essence refuses to assimilate at that time? And our conclusion is to cancel the assimilation. No matter what choice Lizzie makes, we can guarantee your future. Because we are the strongest, Xia Youjie said with great arrogance. If it weren't for what happened next, Bai Ye would have believed it. Xia Youjie's words caused Tian Neely to show obvious hesitation. However, Bai Ye, hiding in the passage, couldn't help but sneer. Tisk. A bunch of brats, in the end, they are still too young. Although you are already special-grade sorcerers, you are far from being the strongest right now. Xia Youjie's words stirred up many memories in Tian Neely, bringing about intense emotional fluctuations. With tears streaming down her face, she said, I used to think that even if we had to be separated forever because of assimilation, nothing would happen. Advertisement, even if it's painful, there will always be a day when we forget about sadness and loneliness. But I still want to continue being with everyone. I want to go to different places with everyone, experience more new things. I really want to. Tian Neely's face was filled with longing. Xia Youjie let out a sigh, wearing an expression as if he had troubles, but still extended his hand and said, Go back, Rico, we will protect you. What a Xia Youjie, what a strongest, what a flag. If it weren't for Bai Ye, this flag would have undoubtedly fallen. What awaits Rico will be hell. Influenced by Xia Youjie, Tian Neely happily reached out her hand and nodded, saying, Yes. It's coming. It's exactly this moment, Bai Ye secretly prepared. Bang. At the same time Tian Neely nodded, a gunshot rang out from the passage. The bullet spun rapidly, flying towards Tian Neely's head. In the instant before blood was about to gush out, Bai Ye, who had long been prepared, used the Jujutsu. No limit. That was copied from Gojo Satoru. The bullet stopped just 5 centimeters away from Tian Neely's head, unable to move forward even a millimeter. But Bai Ye still chose not to reveal himself, because he doesn't like Xia Youjie. Phew. Bai Ye breathed a sigh of relief, finally caught up. Having successfully saved Xinjiang, Bai Ye glared fiercely at Fu Haishiner. Tisk. What a ruthless person. To claim the 30 million reward from the Pangxing sect, he actually attacked a weak woman. Truly deserving of the title, Mage Killer. However, in this world that Bai Ye has crossed into, all outcomes must go according to his will. Tian Neely Z, he has saved her. Fu Haishiner also sensed that someone seemed to be glaring at him angrily, but the feeling passed in an instant, so he didn't think much of it. It must be an illusion, Fu Haishiner comforted himself as he walked towards the exit of the passage, preparing to check the outcome of the battle. The terrifying sound of gunfire and bullets that seemed to be within reach frightened Tian Neely Z, causing her to sit on the ground, her forehead covered in cold sweat. On the other side, Xia Youjie also had a shocked expression. Who? Saved Li Zi's sister. Just now, there was a strong surge of curse power. Stronger than him and Wu. Xia Youjie quickly searched around but found no clue. Li Zi's sister, are you okay? Xia Youjie didn't dare to think too much and quickly stood in front of Tian Neely Z. Advertisement at this moment, Fu Haishiner walked out of the passage with a gun in hand. Tisk. Did I miss? It seems I have to work a little harder. Fu Haishiner didn't notice Bai Ye's presence and mistakenly thought that Xia Youjie had blocked the bullets. Why are you here? Xia Youjie was extremely shocked when he saw Fu Haishiner. Why? Oh, is that what you mean? Fu Haishiner scratched his head with the gun, a smug smile on his face. Because I've already killed Gojo Satoru. Is that so? Xia Youjie was instantly infuriated by Fu Haishiner's arrogant attitude and unleashed the cursed spirit, Red Dragon, that he controlled. The powerful curse pressure from the cursed spirit, Red Dragon, caused Tian Neely Z, who had no curse power, to faint. Go to hell. Cursed spirit technique. The battle between the two is about to begin. At this moment, Bai Ye successfully rewrote Xia Youjie's Jujutsu, cursed spirit technique. Bai Ye doesn't have time to waste on being happy. He directly picks up the unconscious Rico and prepares to leave. Although he is not afraid of the two in front of him now, continuing to waste time here could possibly attract other Jujutsu practitioners. Bai Ye is not arrogant enough to be able to deal with all the highly skilled Jujutsu practitioners. So he made the decision to retreat. He has no intention of helping Xia Youjie because he doesn't like this guy who is too scheming. This guy who has deceived everyone with false Jujutsu information since his student days. He needs to suffer a bit and be educated. In the moment Bai Ye takes Rico away, the two who are still fighting both sense the presence of another person. There's another person? We can't let him take away Rico, Star Plasma? The two in battle simultaneously make the same judgment. So a low-level cursed spirit and a bullet fly towards Bai Ye at the same time. Bang! The low-level cursed spirit is instantly removed. The bullet also stops in front of Bai Ye and can't move forward. The effect of the technique, pale, in a brief moment, Bai Ye successfully leaves Jujutsu High School with Tenchi Riko. The two who are still in battle are equally shocked. Such strong cursed power. P.S. K, you're really amazing. When I got to this point, I went crazy. Just when I was moved by the gentleness and friendship of Xia and Go, then Riko disappears? You. AB asterisk 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 D. Can you really do such a thing to the beautiful Riko? Character introduction. Kuroi Miki, the person taking care of Tenchi Riko, can be understood as a guardian. O3 existence like a younger sister, asking for flowers. Princess carrying. Bai Ye swiftly flew out of Jujutsu High School while holding the unconscious Tenchi Riko. Finding an abandoned wooden house not far away, Bai Ye placed Tenchi Riko on an old sofa. Fortunately, no injuries. No need to see a doctor. Bai Ye checked Tenchi Riko's condition. Suddenly, Tenchi Riko abruptly opened her eyes. With a surprised expression on her makeup-free face, she stared blankly at Bai Ye for 2 seconds with her big eyes. You're awake. Don't worry, you're out of danger. Although Bai Ye said so, Tenchi Riko, dressed in a school uniform with her hair in a ponytail, quickly stood up from the sofa and moved a few meters away. Looking at Bai Ye as if facing a formidable enemy, she said, "Vile scum. How dare you attempt to kill me? It's better for you to die first." Aura. While speaking, Tenchi Riko struck a pose like Ultraman releasing a beam attack on a monster. "Miss Riko, please calm down. I am not associated with those who attacked you," Bai Ye spoke sincerely, with a harmless smile. Still a bit shaken, Tenchi Riko carefully examined the handsome and sunny Bai Ye in front of her. He doesn't seem like he's lying at all, and he has the appearance of a good person. My type, heart emoji. Where is this place? Did you save me? Riko let down her guard and looked around, asking. This is outside of Jujutsu High School, very safe. You can completely relax, Bai Ye smiled refreshingly. I was entrusted to come and save you. By the way, my name is Bai Ye, White Knight, what a good name. Tenchi Riko breathed a sigh of relief, then worriedly said. How is Hei Jing doing? Don't worry, she got a little injured, but it's nothing serious. Oh, that's really good. Tian Ne Lizzie thought for a moment and asked, what about Lu Hai the magician and Yanjing the glasses-wearing magician? How are they doing? Bai Ye smiled again and cursed Xia Jian in his heart. Don't be fooled by Tian Ne Lizzie's carefree appearance, she is actually very sensitive. In this situation, instead of worrying about her own safety, she is concerned about others. Advertisement, don't worry about them. What about yourself? Have you figured out what to do next? Lizzie fell into silence. Bai Ye spoke up, I heard that. You said you wanted to continue being with everyone, right? I want to go to different places with everyone and experience more new things. Huh? How did you know? Tian Ne Lizzie's face instantly turned red. Did he see that state? How embarrassing. That's possible. Bai Ye said seriously, if you want to go back to school, I can take you there now. Of course, I will ensure your safety. Whether it's the Jujutsu High School or anyone else, I will protect you from harm. Can you really? Tian Ne Lizzie was moved. Of course, Bai Ye affirmed, you should live more freely, not as the Tian Yuan successor, and definitely not as the so-called star pulp. Because in my eyes, Lizzie, you are like my little sister. Bai Ye paused for a second, using a more appropriate term than favorite character. In that instant, Lizzie's heart was touched, and she threw herself into Bai Ye's arms, sobbing heavily. And Bai Ye, just like her older brother, gently stroked Riko's hair. After a while, Riko's emotions settled down, and only then did Bai Ye send her back to school. At the junior high section of the Lianji Girls' School, Bai Ye accompanied Riko back to school. After ensuring Riko's safety, Bai Ye exchanged contact information with her. After school, I will come to pick you up. Bai Ye picked up his phone and gestured, then turned and left under Riko's moved gaze. Really just like a brother, it feels like family. Riko wiped away her tears as she watched Bai Ye's figure recede. Oh, isn't that Riko? Riko's classmate happened to see the scene where Bai Ye and she parted ways, and exclaimed in surprise. Where is she? Hey, it really is her. Who is that handsome guy? Is he her boyfriend? He's even more handsome than the one this morning? How is that possible? Wasn't the handsome guy who crashed the chapel this morning her boyfriend? Didn't Riko say he's her cousin? Advertisement? Can we really trust such words? Hey, does that mean Riko is playing both sides? Or are they all pursuing Riko? Let's go ask Riko about it. So, a few girls walked over together. What's going on, Riko? Is he your boyfriend? Is he a high school student? He looks about the same age, but he's so tall. So handsome. Introduce him to us, let us get to know him. Several girls looked at Riko with excitement and anticipation, as she stood there flustered and blushing. No, it's not like that, it's my cousin, my cousin. The girls looked at her with doubt. Is that so? You said the same thing this morning. I envy Rico, having two handsome cousins, and they have different styles too. If it's your cousin, then you must introduce him to us. Hey, don't get too carried away, Rico pouted. Without the bounty on Sukuna and the curse user group, Q, being dismantled by Gojo Satoru and Xia Youjie, Rico wouldn't have attracted the attention of other sorcerers. Even at school, Rico's safety could be guaranteed. As for Sukuna and the Pangxing sect, let's deal with these two things next. Bai Ye looked at the time and said, at this time, Sukuna should still be fighting Xia Youjie. Taking this opportunity, let's eliminate the Pangxing sect first. Without the bounty from the Pangxing sect, Sukuna will lose the reason to target Rico. Bai Ye made up his mind and left the school, heading directly to the headquarters of the Pangxing sect, the Star Child's home, based on his memory. 04 solved the Pangxing cult and stopped Fushir, seeking flowers. Outside the main building of the Pangxing sect headquarters, Bai Ye looked at the familiar architecture and couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. Just because of your so-called bullshit beliefs, you want to kill a living being? And, Tianyuan, I won't let you off either. Bai Ye didn't use duplication to conceal himself, but boldly walked in. Inside the building, with the blessing of curse power, Bai Ye could clearly see an old man wearing the robes of the sect. The representative of the Pangxing sect, Yuan Tianmao. It wasn't until Bai Ye approached that Yuan Tianmao noticed someone had come in. Oh, have you completed the mission? As expected of an assassin of sorcerers, your actions are fast. We have already prepared the remaining reward. Bai Ye walked to a spot not far from Yuan Tianmao and realized that the person in front of him didn't recognize him. Who are you? The terrifying atmosphere emanating from the person in front of him filled Yuan Tianmao with fear. He quickly calculated in his mind whether he had offended any Jujutsu sorcerers, and the answer was no. In other words, had the assassination been exposed? Bai Ye didn't bother to answer his question, but asked on his own, is it you? The person who hired a hitman to assassinate my sister. Yuan Tianmao was momentarily stunned. Wasn't this about assassinating the star plasma body? But upon closer inspection of Bai Ye's attire, he realized that he wasn't a Jujutsu high specialist, and he felt relieved. Your sister? Who is she? I don't know your sister. Sora. Bai Ye couldn't be bothered to explain and directly used the duplication technique, Gojo Satoru's technique, to reverse Sora, causing Yuan Tianmao's lower body to explode into a pile of flesh. Oh, my legs. My legs. Yuan Tianmao was drenched in sweat due to the sudden pain. Who are you? You're a sorcerer, right? Sorcerers are not allowed to harm non-sorcerers. Sorcerers are not allowed to harm non-sorcerers. Bai Ye looked surprised. Yuan Tianmao seemed to see a glimmer of hope. That's right, I'm not a sorcerer, so you can't harm me. Who said I'm a sorcerer? Bai Ye chuckled lightly, looking maliciously at the disheveled Yuan Tianmao in front of him. Rules in the world of sorcerers? Sorcerers cannot harm non-sorcerers? Hey. Advertisement to hell with the rules. Bai Ye didn't care about all that. He had crossed over to this world not to be a good person, but to see the ending he desired. How could these bullshit rules bind him? Yuan Tianmao was horrified, pointing at Bai Ye and said, You're a curse user? A sorcerer who lives by curses? Bai Ye laughed again. So what if I'm a sorcerer? So what if I'm a curse user? Trash, like you should feel honored that I'm willing to waste my time talking to you. Don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me. I have money, I'll give you money, as much as you want, even my entire fortune, as long as you spare my life. Yuan Tianmao, with blood-soaked legs, took out a bank card from his pocket and handed it to Bai Ye. There's 100 million in here. It was originally meant for someone else, but now it's all yours. The card has no password, and the registered identity is a fictional character, so there are no security issues. Bai Ye was somewhat surprised. He had only intended to get rid of the Pangxing sect, but unexpectedly gained something extra. Well, this was also good. There would be many places where he would need money in the future, so he could consider it as compensation from the Pangxing sect. After a moment of contemplation, Bai Ye took the bank card without any burden, and then explosively broke one of Yuan Tianmao's arms. Yuan Tianmao let out a miserable scream. You think you can buy my sister's life with 100 million? It seems that your faith is only worth this much. Bai Ye's words instantly made Yuan Tianmao, who was on the verge of death, have a sudden realization. You are the older brother of Stellar Fluid, TNA Lizzie? It's impossible. We have already investigated. Besides her parents who were killed by us, she doesn't have a brother. Yuan Tianmao answered his own question. Did you also cause the car accident that killed Lizzie's parents? You're truly scum? It seems like you view life as insignificant, right? Then can I consider your lives as insignificant as well? Bai Ye's words contained a hint of emotion, coldness. Without giving Yuan Tianmao a chance to speak, he directly turned Yuan Tianmao into ashes. Leaving the building, Bai Ye showed no sympathy at all. He activated the technique, Kang, to its maximum power, directly destroying the entire building. All the high-ranking members of the Pangxing sect were annihilated. The Pangxing sect collapsed as a result. Bai Ye accomplished what Xia Youjie failed to do. The explosion in the building quickly caught the attention of the public, but Bai Ye had already left long ago. He was heading to Jujutsu High School to intercept Fu Haijiner. Outside Jujutsu High School, Fu Haijiner defeated Xia Youjie and walked out with a troubled expression. Tisk, what a hassle, she actually managed to escape. Advertisement. Fu Haijiner complained and then began searching for the traces left by Bai Ye. Soon, his eyes lit up. Do you think you're safe by hiding here? Fu Haijiner smirked and walked directly towards Bai Ye's location. Not far from where Bai Ye was hiding, Fu Haijiner stopped in his tracks. Come out. There's no use hiding your head and showing your tail. I've already found you. Seeing that Bai Ye didn't come out, Fu Haijiner continued, I have to admit, you hid very well, leaving no trace of residuals. However, the traces left by humans are not just residuals, but also scent, footprints, and so on. The curse binding has greatly enhanced my senses, so it's useless for you to continue hiding. Bai Ye had no intention of hiding, whether it be leaving no residuals or scent traces, he could completely achieve it if he wanted to. Bai Ye appeared out of thin air directly under a big tree and said lightly, Fu Haijiner, become my subordinate. Bai Ye had no intention of killing Shenner, although he could easily do so. He didn't like Shenner, but he didn't hate him either. Shenner was just a pitiful person. Not being accepted by the Zenin family, and burdened with debts. Assassinating TNA Rico was only to earn money and repay the debt. Moreover, because of Bai Ye, Shenner was not successful. Although ruthless, he was indeed a skilled person with high value for utilization. There are still many places where he can be useful in the future. Therefore, after careful consideration, Bai Ye planned to subdue Fu Haijiner. At the moment Bai Ye appeared, Shenner felt as if facing a formidable enemy. The terrifying pressure of cursed power made him break out in a cold sweat, feeling as if he was stuck in a quagmire, unable to move. What's going on? This cursed power. I've never heard of a Jujutsu Kaisen specialist with this kind of cursed power. It's like an endless ocean. In Shenner's eyes, behind Bai Ye at this moment, there was a majestic cursed power like an ocean. Is he one of the special grade sorcerers? Fu Haijiner was shocked in his heart. At the same time, there was a hint of excitement. If I were to fight him, I might be killed before I even have time to make a move. But, this is worth a battle. Fu Haijiner was eager to give it a try. 05 conquering Fushir, asking for flowers. What are you saying? You little brat. Fu Haijiner began to doubt his own ears. Although he was well aware that the person in front of him was very strong, he might even be a top-level sorcerer. However, to make him submit to a child who was not even 20 years old. It was simply impossible. Kid, win against me first before you say anything. I don't need to say it, but you should know that you have no chance of winning, Bai Ye said calmly, while the power of his curse behind him became even more majestic, as if with just a thought from Bai Ye, he could engulf Shen Fuhai. That's not necessarily true. The battle has just begun. Shen Fuhai pulled out the top-level cursed tool, Tian Ni Spear, from the mouth of his cursed spirit, which he had raised as a weapon arsenal. Although he knew he had no chance of winning, he still wanted to fight and test his skills against the person in front of him. Clang. The battle was about to begin. Bai Ye also appeared with a top-level cursed tool, Tian Ni Spear, in his hand, directly blocking Shen Fuhai's attack. What? This is impossible. Shen Fuhai had finally overcome his fear and launched an attack, but it was easily resolved by the other party, even though the other party didn't want to fight him. Immediately jumping back to disengage from the battle, Shen Fuhai had a pensive look on his face. At the same time, he was greatly shocked because the other party had taken out the same top-level cursed tool, Tian Ni Spear, as him. Is it your technique? Shen Fuhai calmly analyzed everything that was happening in front of him. Some kind of illusion technique? No, that's not right. Shen Fuhai quickly dismissed his own speculation. The effect of the top-level cursed tool, Tian Ni Spear, was to forcibly cancel the activation of techniques, and it could penetrate curses. If it were a technique, it should have been cancelled the moment it made contact, but... Hey, are you kidding me? Suddenly, a possibility arose in Shenner's mind, leaving him horrified. Could it be that his technique was not creating illusions, but rather creating objects? In just an instant, he not only activated the technique, but also completed the analysis and creation of the Heavenly Reverse Halberd. The technique was completed before the real and fake, Heavenly Reverse Halberds, made contact. Creating an identical special grade cursed tool in an instant? Shen couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Can even special grade cursed tools be created like this? Advertisement. He had never heard of such a technique before. This person is probably the strongest sorcerer in modern times. Hey. Truly a monster. One by one, these newcomers are like monsters, not giving us old folks any chance. Shen said this, but he had no intention of stopping. Instead, he was calculating in his mind. As long as I keep attacking him and wait for his jujutsu effect to end, then use his unseen, floating cloud, it won't be a problem. However, in just the moment he was thinking, dozens of heavenly reverse halberds surrounded him. They simultaneously launched an attack. Under such intense attacks, even with his extraordinary mobility from heavenly restriction, he still couldn't completely block them. SSSHH. The sound of several blades cutting through objects could be heard. Fuxia Shen felt a strong sense of dissonance. He was instantly heavily injured. Lost the ability to move. Although he lost his fighting ability, he still stood upright. What's your name? Shen expression remained unchanged, as if he was not the one injured. Bai Ye. Bai Ye. You're not from the big three sorcerer families. Shen suddenly burst into laughter. I lost, go ahead and kill me. Although Fuhai Shen knew from the beginning that he had no chance of winning, he didn't expect to lose so thoroughly. Facing Gojo Satoru, who had the power to fight even without awakening, he didn't expect to lose to such a young person. I admit defeat. This was Fuhai Shen current thought. Don't be in a hurry to die. Killing you is just a thought, but if you die, how will the young Wei survive? You should know that you have many enemies. If they can't find you, they will hold Wei accountable. Bai Ye walked over and looked into Shen eyes, saying each word deliberately. At this moment, there was finally some change on Shen face. Are you threatening me? Upon hearing the mention of his child, Shen immediately became furious. It's not really a threat, I'm just pointing you in a clear direction. Oh, a clear direction? For someone like me who walks in the darkness, is there such a thing as a clear direction? Advertisement. Shen heart moved, and he looked up at Bai Ye, seeming to have thought of something. Wei has the bloodline of the Zenin family, but he is different from you. He definitely has cursed power and will become an excellent jujutsu sorcerer in the future. Of course, the premise is that he can survive, Bai Ye said casually. I know you have long had a plan to sell him to the Zenin family, right? This way, not only can you get some money, but you can also get protection, right? Upon hearing Bai Ye's words, Shen was suddenly astonished, staring at Bai Ye intently. He had never mentioned these things to anyone. How did this guy know? Bai Ye didn't care about Shen doubts and continued. But are you really willing to send him to such a garbage dump? Aren't you afraid he will change his surname to Zenin? Bai Ye's words struck a chord with Shen He truly feared that his child would change their surname, denying their Zenin heritage. If there were a better option, he wouldn't want to send his child to such a garbage dump. But he had no choice. Just as Bai Ye said, he had too many enemies. Shen face was heavy with concern. So, what is this clear path you speak of? A smile appeared at the corner of Bai Ye's mouth. Success. Soon after, he regained his composure and looked at Shen Submit to me, and I will provide protection for your child. I will also give him guidance in jujutsu, making him an outstanding jujutsu practitioner. Most importantly, I will not let him change his surname to Zenin. Of course, after submitting to me, you cannot take on any more hired tasks. Bai Ye's tone brooked no questioning. By the way, the Pangxing sect that hired you before has been wiped out by me. The mission to eliminate the star plasma body is considered complete. Bai Ye took out the bank card he obtained from Tadashi Maruta and threw it to Shen There's 100 million yuan in there, use it to pay off your debts. Shen expression was somewhat surprised. His heart was also unsettled. If it were him, there would be no problem. Wei wouldn't have to be sent to such a garbage dump. Shen gritted his teeth. All right, I am willing to submit to you. From now on, I will give my all to any task you assign. Bai Ye nodded in satisfaction. Very well, then please sign this binding contract. 06 The disturbance caused by Bai Ye watching Fuhai Shen sign the binding curse. Bai Ye felt a constraining effect on Fuhai Shen. Once Fuhai Shen intends to betray him, he will pay a heavy price. After confirming the effect of the binding curse, Bai Ye threw a sentence at Fuhai Shen. Go back and take good care of your injuries. After recovering, secretly investigate the people in the Jujutsu Alliance who are connected to cursed spirits. Remember, don't startle the snake, report to me anytime there is any progress. While Bai Ye was speaking, Fuhai Shen listened to Bai Ye's arrangements with the attitude of treating a master. There was no resistance at all. This made Bai Ye very satisfied. After finishing speaking in an instructive tone, Bai Ye looked down at the time. It was exactly 5:30 in the afternoon. It's time to pick up Riko from school. Immediately, Bai Ye used his limitless jujutsu to fly directly to the middle school section of the Renji Girls' School. After Bai Ye left, Qihai Jianren stood up from the kneeling position. At this time, his palms were slightly sweaty. Looking at the direction Bai Ye was leaving, he was shocked. Such strong cursed power, just releasing a little bit made my skin tingle. Could it be that he was still holding back when he fought me before? And he can even use the Gojo family's limitless Jujutsu. Who is he? Qihai Jianren recalled the scene just now and fell into deep thought. After a long time, he still couldn't figure out any clues about Bai Ye's identity. Enough. Handing over Wei to him might be the most correct decision. Qihai Jianren looked at the sky where Bai Ye's figure had disappeared, with a cold smile on his lips. So, the next step is to investigate the spies hidden in the Jujutsu Alliance. Lianji Girls' School, Middle School Section, at the school gate. Bai Ye appeared here on time at the end of school. Many female students who walked out of the school gate would secretly glance at Bai Ye, discussing his handsome appearance and temperament. Even bolder female students would violate school regulations to hand Bai Ye a pink envelope. Senior, please accept my feelings, Bai Ye. Although somewhat speechless, he still gently accepted these envelopes and said thank you. Advertisement. He had only waited at the school gate for a little over 10 minutes. Bai Ye now had over a dozen pink envelopes in his hands. At this moment, Tian Nizi finally walked out from the midst of a group of classmates surrounding her, like the stars surrounding the moon. I've already said he's my cousin, he really is my cousin. Tian Nizi had explained to the point of annoyance, yet her classmates had no intention of letting her off. Tian Nizi, what's your cousin's name? Where does he live? Which high school does he attend? Does he have a girlfriend? Everyone was talking at once. Soon, someone spotted Bai Ye waiting at the gate. Immediately, they exclaimed, wow, isn't that Tian Nizi's cousin? Really, so handsome, so charismatic. Hello, young man, over here. A group of Riko's classmates began waving from a distance. And behind the crowd, their music teacher was secretly following. What? Riko's face turned red. Soon, Riko shook her head and kept reminding herself in her heart. He is my lifesaver, my brother. Why am I blushing? The more she didn't want to blush, the more her face turned red. Hey, Riko, isn't he your cousin? Why are you blushing? Huh? Did Riko blush? It's not that simple after all? The classmates teased Riko one after another. They playfully walked up to Bai Ye, and a group of female classmates greeted Bai Ye. Bai Ye responded with a smile and then reached out a hand to Riko. Riko, I'm here to take you home. Yikes. Everyone was shocked, looking at Riko with anticipation and envy on their faces. The passing female students also looked envious. Just then, advertisement. Their music teacher suddenly emerged from the crowd. Standing between Bai Ye and Riko, with a stern expression, the teacher scolded. Quiet. What kind of behavior is this for girls? And, according to the regulations of Lianji High School, students are prohibited from dating. The classmates expressed their dissatisfaction. He is Riko's cousin. Teacher, why are you here? Shouldn't you have gone home since there are no more classes? After scolding the students, the music teacher turned back to look at Bai Ye. In the moment their eyes met, the music teacher felt her heart pounding, her blood pressure rising, and a dizzy feeling. But she still walked towards Bai Ye with a stern face and said as she walked, I'm telling you, this is not acceptable. Even if you are relatives, you can't just casually talk to our female students at the entrance of our girls' school. Walking up to Bai Ye, the music teacher suddenly approached Bai Ye and handed him a note filled with numbers, whispering, also, this is my phone number. I'm free this weekend. Bai Ye's forehead broke out in a cold sweat, but he still slowly took the note. Seeing this scene, the classmates protested angrily, hey, teacher, you're the one violating the rules. Not displaying the professional ethics of a teacher at all. The music teacher's face was filled with anger. You guys have no idea how difficult it is for a teacher to meet someone of the opposite **X. The classmates were even more furious, but we're the same, aren't we? Clearly being a teacher, yet liking young and fresh meat. I never expected you to be this kind of person. What? Do you have any objections to me? Besides, it's after work hours now. I have the right to do what I want. We have the same right too. The teacher and the students argued happily. Riko stood in the middle, looking somewhat awkward. They're not usually like this, Riko explained. In response to Riko's explanation, Bai Ye smiled faintly and shook the envelope in his hand. Your school is really lively. The students are also very enthusiastic. On the other side, with Bai Ye's reminder, Gojo Satoru finally successfully awakened the technique reversal. The injuries he sustained from the battle with Sukuna have also healed quite a bit. Who is that person? So strong. Could he also be from the Gojo family? Otherwise, how could he have such limitless jujutsu? And he definitely awakened the technique reversal, maybe even the domain. I need to find him, and then become his disciple, Gojo Satoru said firmly. 07 Small test. Removal. Level 1 curse. Ask for flowers. Bai Ye escorted Riko all the way back to her residence. Miri Kuroi, who had already received the news, was waiting downstairs, dragging her injured and still unhealed body. At the moment she saw Bai Ye, Miri had a momentary daze. So handsome. He's different from Gojo Satoru and Xia Youjie, so cool. His appearance also looks very refreshing. Could he also be a member of the Jujutsu high school? Miri ne. Note. Ne is a term of endearment in Japanese. Miri ne. Riko called out 4 or 5 times before Miri snapped out of her daze. Miri ne, you're daydreaming, Riko chuckled. Miri looked at Riko, who was unharmed in front of her, and tears welled up in her eyes. Then she hugged Riko tightly. Riko, it's so good to see you're okay. I'm fine, but what about you, Miri ne? Are your injuries okay? Miri shook her head and then let go of Riko. Who is this? Miri's question was anticipated by Riko, who had already prepared an excuse. Let me formally introduce you. This is my cousin, Bai Ye. Miri was a little confused. Bai Ye timely smiled and said, I'm grateful for your care of my younger cousin. Oh, not at all, it's what I should do. Miri quickly returned the gesture. So polite, completely different from those two. After expressing gratitude to Miri, Bai Ye turned to Riko and said, Riko, as I told you before, you're safe now. Just follow Miss Kuroi and call me immediately if anything happens. Saying that, Bai Ye bid farewell to the two and added before leaving, study hard at school. After Bai Ye's admonition, he disappeared from their sight the next second. Riko felt a little disappointed that she couldn't invite Bai Ye to come home, but she quickly cheered up and regained her usual liveliness. Note. The translation assumes that Bai Ye is a name and not a literal translation of white leaf. After confirming Lizzie's safe return home, Bai Ye finally walked towards a couple's hotel that he had passed by earlier. He sensed a strong curse aura here. Curse is a mysterious power that arises when human negative emotions such as bitterness, regret, and shame reach a certain level. Places like hospitals, schools, and cemeteries are most prone to producing cursed spirits because they are constantly filled with various negative emotions. And couples hotels are no exception. Due to the nature of the place, couples hotels often give birth to curses related to desire and lust. However, generally speaking, these curses are of a relatively low level. It is rare to encounter such a strong curse like this time. Bai Ye appeared on the roof of the hotel and looked down at the curse peeking through the window, carefully sensing the curse's power. Advertisement. It's probably at the second level. No, it's already very close to the first level curse. Lucky. It's perfect for practice. At this moment, the curse had not noticed Bai Ye's presence and was still excitedly peeking through the window, observing the scene inside the room. It was obvious that this curse was born from the intense grudge of a single male otaku who died. The first curse I'll remove after crossing into this world. Bai Ye smiled faintly. Although Bai Ye possessed the cursed spirit manipulation technique, and could easily control this curse for his own use, he didn't want a cursed spirit with such a disgusting behavior like peeping. It would be too embarrassing if word got out. Bai Ye lazily stretched and said, I'll play with you a little longer. While forming hand seals, Bai Ye chanted incantations. Born from darkness, darker than black, cleanse the impure residuals. As soon as the words fell, the curtain was already complete. So, let's begin. The first curse I'll remove. Realizing this, Bai Ye released his curse power, instantly attracting the curse's attention. On the other side, the Jujutsu High School also received news of the curse's appearance. Yaga Masamichi, the current principal of Jujutsu High School, was considering who to send to remove this curse. At this moment, Gojo Satoru, who has mastered the reverse curse technique, volunteers himself. Principal, leave this curse to me. It's a perfect opportunity to test my reverse curse technique. After receiving treatment from Ieri Shoko, who is also a second-year student, his injuries have almost healed. Yaga Masamichi stares at Gojo Satoru with a puzzled expression. When did this guy, who usually complains about any given task, become so motivated? Are you sure your injuries are okay? No problem? Gojo Satoru gives a simple answer to Yaga Masamichi's question and swiftly flies away, completely ignoring what Yaga Masamichi says afterwards. Don't forget to put down the curtain, not far from the lover's inn. Gojo Satoru appears out of thin air here. He looks at the appearing curtain with some confusion. Huh? Has someone already come here ahead of me? Doesn't matter, I should quickly remove this curse and then go find my teacher. Just as Gojo Satoru is about to step into the curtain, it is lifted. This means that the curse inside has already been removed. Oh, who could have removed a person who was evolving into a grade 1 curse so quickly? Gojo Satoru is very curious. Advertisement after all. He arrived here in less than a minute after receiving the news. In the Jujutsu High School, there are not many people who can remove a potential grade 1 curse in such a short time. Moreover, at this time, Jujutsu sorcerers are extremely busy. Everyone has heavy tasks. Who has the leisure to meddle without receiving any notification? Just as Gojo Satoru is about to go and meet the other person, a figure that leaves a deep impression on him appears before his eyes. That is, Gojo Satoru instantly recognizes Bai Ye, the person who guided me in mastering the reverse cursed technique. At the same time Gojo Satoru notices Bai Ye. Bai Ye also notices Gojo Satoru. In the blink of an eye, Gojo Satoru appeared in front of Bai Ye. Excitement filled his expression. Bai Ye was also slightly surprised. It seems that the technique reversal has been successful. However, Bai Ye did not speak to Gojo Satoru, but rather clapped his hands to himself. In an indifferent tone, he said, "Otaku, are really disgusting." After speaking, Bai Ye turned around to leave. Ah. Gojo Satoru was suddenly startled. "Please wait." Bai Ye turned his head slightly. "I am a second-year student at the Jujutsu High School. My name is Gojo Satoru. Please be sure to tell me your name." Gojo Satoru changed his usual frivolous attitude and his expression became extremely sincere. Huh? Bai Ye was surprised in his heart, feeling that this scene seemed familiar, as if he had seen it somewhere, but just couldn't remember. Unexpectedly, Bai Ye gave up without thinking about the result. With the idea of building a good relationship with a future powerful force, Bai Ye casually said his name. "My name is Bai Ye." Gojo Satoru was instantly overjoyed, and then with an extremely serious and devout expression, he said, "Please accept me as your disciple, teacher Bai Ye." Gojo Satoru directly knelt in the air and paid his respects to Bai Ye. 08 Educational Apprentice Gojo Satoru, asking for flowers. Bai Ye was a bit speechless, but at the same time, he was also a little excited. He didn't expect to unintentionally convince the future ceiling of combat power. This was a great gain. Seeing Bai Ye hesitate, Gojo Satoru was now very nervous. "Teacher Bai Ye." Gojo Satoru bowed again from a distance. "Please let me become as powerful as you." If there was a floor in the air, Gojo Satoru's head would be buried in the ground at this moment, showing his sincerity. Seeing Gojo Satoru so earnestly, and thinking about the future plans, Bai Ye suddenly felt a little moved. In the future, the era cannot be measured by the scale of special grade. If he wanted to change the ending of the characters he liked, it was not enough to rely on himself alone. He needed to cultivate a group of smart, powerful, and reliable companions. Bai Ye had the idea of taking in disciples, but he didn't plan to simply accept Gojo Satoru as his disciple. Rubbing his chin, he thought to himself, "If you can catch up to me, then I will accept you as my disciple." After Bai Ye finished speaking, he disappeared directly. Gojo Satoru jumped up happily. "That's great, teacher Bai Ye is willing to accept me as his disciple." Yeah. He happily threw a series of air punches. Excitedly shouting, he chased after Bai Ye in the direction he left. Is that his limit? Bai Ye in front did not use his full strength, but maintained a distance with Gojo Satoru. A speed that was neither fast nor slow. It's already impressive that you can keep up with my speed, truly worthy of being the owner of 6 eyes. Let me see how long you can keep up. With a smirk on his lips, Bai Ye accelerated once again. Seeing Bai Ye accelerate once more from behind, Gojo Satoru was shocked. Teacher Bai Ye is amazing. He is probably the strongest sorcerer known so far. Special grade. No, he is an existence far stronger than special grade. Even though he is not from the Gojo family, he can use limitless jujutsu without any restraint, and even without 6 eyes, he can still utilize limitless jujutsu to such an extent. I am completely unable to compare. Advertisement, at least not now. Perhaps teacher Bai Ye has already awakened the pinnacle of jujutsu battles, domain expansion. No, he definitely has awakened it. If I continue to train under teacher Bai Ye, I will definitely become stronger. Maybe I even have a chance to surpass teacher Bai Ye. Gojo Satoru's desire to win was ignited, and in order to catch up to Bai Ye and successfully become his disciple, he pushed his use of limitless jujutsu to a higher level. Soon, he closed the gap that had been widened just now. But that was the end of it. His cursed energy was already running low, and coupled with the battle against Sukuna, his physical strength had long been on the verge of collapse, causing his speed to drop instantly. If it weren't for the belief of, I must become Bai Ye's disciple, supporting him, he would have long been exhausted. Bai Ye also noticed this, so he chose to stop and wait at an abandoned amusement park. A few seconds later, Gojo Satoru finally caught up. Although he was tired, he was excited. Teacher Bai Ye, I caught up with you. Bai Ye did not respond to Gojo Satoru's address, but instead, his gaze fell on the Ferris wheel in the abandoned amusement park. At the highest point of the abandoned Ferris wheel, there was a cursed spirit with extremely strong cursed energy crouching. Teacher Bai Ye. Gojo Satoru thought that Bai Ye hadn't heard, so he shouted again and looked in the direction Bai Ye was looking at. There. An abandoned amusement park? Gojo Satoru seemed pensive. It is said that the reason for the abandonment of this amusement park was due to operating losses, but it seems that is not the case. Instead, it was abandoned because there is a curse, is that right? Teacher Bai Ye, leave this level of curse to me, it's not worth your effort. Gojo Satoru volunteered, and Bai Ye did not refuse, but nodded lightly. Seeing that Gojo Satoru didn't immediately remove it, but instead provoked the cursed spirit, Bai Ye frowned slightly. As I thought, he is still too young. Although he will definitely win, this method of provoking the cursed spirit is completely unacceptable. Who knows if the cursed spirit has any hidden tricks? The stronger the cursed spirit, the higher its intelligence, and the greater the possibility of hidden tricks. Gojo Satoru's character still needs some polishing. Bai Ye seemed lost in thought, as if he had thought of something. Shortly after, Gojo Satoru, after showing off his own strength, returned to Bai Ye's side. Teacher Bai Ye, the curse has been removed. Where should we go next? Gojo Satoru seemed very excited. Advertisement Bai Ye sighed helplessly, just as he was about to give Gojo Satoru a serious lecture. A power no less than a grade 1 curse suddenly emerged from the direction of the haunted house in the abandoned amusement park. At the same time, several screams came from the direction of the haunted house. It was a group of high school students who wanted to explore the abandoned haunted house at night. Bai Ye's brow furrowed slightly. Teacher Bai Ye, leave this one to me. Gojo Satoru rolled up his sleeves, preparing to make another big move. But Bai Ye casually used the Jujutsu technique, cursed spirit manipulation, and captured the grade 1 curse in his hand, turning it into a glass bead-sized sphere. Feeling the ominous curse emanating from the curse, Bai Ye furrowed his brow, but still tilted his head back and swallowed the cursed spirit that had turned into a glass bead. Tisk. What a disgusting smell. No wonder Xia Youjie betrayed us, it must have been tough for him. If Bai Ye keeps removing curses in this way and encounters something like the Star Essence body, again, he would also want to rebel. Bai Ye removed a level 1 curse with just a few movements, shocking Gojo Satoru. Especially when Bai Ye used Jujutsu, cursed spirit manipulation, of Gojo Satoru's dear friend Xia Youjie. Gojo Satoru's sunglasses almost fell off his nose, and his jaw was so shocked that it couldn't close. His right thumb involuntarily raised up, impressive. Teacher Bai Ye is indeed powerful. He even knows cursed spirit manipulation. Could it be that Teacher Bai Ye is an all-powerful sorcerer? After witnessing Bai Ye's skills, Gojo Satoru became even more convinced that it was right to become Bai Ye's student. Teacher Bai Ye is amazing. He saved everyone with just one move. I also want to become as powerful as him. Gojo Satoru acted a bit like a bootlicker. Bai Ye glanced at him and thought of something, sighed, and looked into Gojo Satoru's eyes with a serious tone. Even now, wouldn't you be able to easily do this, Gojo? But, Gojo, Bai Ye slightly turned his body and looked towards the distant sky, implying something as he said, you should know that even a teacher, even someone as strong as you, can only save those who are prepared to accept help from others. Yes, Teacher Bai Ye, I will remember that, Gojo Satoru replied with a solemn expression. Bai Ye looked at the serious Gojo Satoru and sighed again. I hope you really remember. Let's go, Gojo. I have a task to give you, Bai Ye said, landing on the street and walking slowly. Gojo Satoru followed along. Oh 9, what type of man do you like? Ask for flowers. On the streets of Kyoto, Bai Ye effortlessly removed several cursed spirits along the way, with Gojo Satoru following behind, flattering Bai Ye. Teacher Bai Ye is amazing. Removing so many level 1 curses in a row, yet not feeling tired at all. In that regard, I am the same. Teacher Bai Ye, I have a question. After witnessing several of Bai Ye's Jujutsu techniques, especially experiencing a domain expansion with Bai Ye, Gojo Satoru's curiosity grew stronger. What's the question? Is Teacher Bai Ye really not from the Gojo family? Gojo Satoru asked with great curiosity. You should know, I am not from the Gojo family, and I am not a local. Bai Ye denied directly. Could it be that you are a descendant who split from the Gojo family? Is that possible? Gojo Satoru was somewhat persistent. Bai Ye shook his head and patiently said, I am not from this country. Not from this country. This made Gojo Satoru even more interested. Then where does teacher come from? Bai Ye thought for a moment and instead of saying he came from another dimension, he tactfully said, I come from a place without curses. Gojo Satoru suddenly realized, from a place without curses, is it heaven? Or could it be that teacher removed them all? Gojo Satoru inexplicably became excited. It must be so, teacher is too amazing, following teacher Bai Ye was indeed the right choice. Bai Ye looked at the inexplicably excited Gojo Satoru and felt somewhat speechless. Is there something wrong with this child's head? It's completely inexplicable excitement. It's not like this in the original work. Teacher Bai Ye. Since you're not from this country, why are you so serious about removing the curse? Another question came from Gojo Satoru. Upon hearing this, Bai Ye turned his head and glanced at Gojo Satoru, not answering his question, but instead asking, Gojo, are you a special grade sorcerer? Bai Ye asked knowingly. Yes, Teacher Bai Ye, Gojo Satoru answered passionately. But I feel like I'm still far behind you, teacher. Bai Ye neither confirmed nor denied Gojo Satoru's judgment, but continued, do you know? I always have a feeling that in the future generations, the scale of special grade will be completely inadequate. Oh, advertisement. Gojo Satoru was suddenly shocked. Special grade is inadequate? But teacher should have a solution, right? Perhaps. Bai Ye looked up at the sky and continued, but to protect important people, relying solely on oneself is not enough. Gojo Satoru was very clever and immediately understood the meaning behind Bai Ye's words. So, is it because there are people he wants to protect that he's so serious about removing curses? Are you hungry, Gojo? Let's go eat something. What do you want to eat? I want something sweet. I'll treat you to ramen. Bai Ye didn't take Gojo Satoru's opinion into account and made the decision himself. Because he knew that this guy only had desserts on his mind. When someone's student is in crisis, the first thing they should do is not to save them, but to go buy desserts. This guy shouldn't be asked for his opinion. And so, the two set off to find a ramen shop that was still open. Soon, the two of them found a 24-hour ramen shop. Bai Ye ordered 2 bowls of ramen. Signaling for Gojo Satoru to sit down, Bai Ye finally spoke, Gojo, I am a very willful person. I know, because the teacher never asked me what flavor I wanted and just ordered ramen for me. Gojo Satoru seemed to sense that Bai Ye had something to say. He put down his chopsticks and listened attentively to Bai Ye. I have a dream. Bai Ye said this sentence and then buried his head in eating the noodles, not saying anything more. The next day, Gojo Satoru held the list that Bai Ye had given him and muttered to himself. Are these the important people that teacher Bai Ye said we need to protect? Gojo Satoru glanced at the list again. Akatsu Yuta, Scale, Fushiguro Megumi, Yuji Itadori, Kugisaki Nobara. They all seem to be children. Do they really have cursed energy? Gojo Satoru had some doubts about this list. Advertisement. Well, it doesn't matter. As long as I follow teacher's instructions and train them to become excellent jujutsu sorcerers. So, without revealing Bai Ye's identity, Gojo Satoru began the first task that Bai Ye had given him. On the other hand, Bai Ye also started his own actions. Searching for sorcerers and copying their jujutsu. At the same time, searching for powerful cursed spirits and using them for his own purposes. In August 2007, during the Jujutsu era, 1 year after the Star Plasma incident, Bai Ye encountered the legendary, but notorious, special grade sorcerer, Juzu 99, who was known for being a special grade sorcerer who never took on missions and only wandered overseas aimlessly. She was a stunning beauty with a figure so perfect that there was not an ounce of excess fat, ranking among the top beauties in the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. However, Bai Ye had a good impression of her, as she was a sorcerer who made efforts for world peace. She also had a distinctive catchphrase, which she even taught to Todo Aoi. Unfortunately, Juzu 99 did not make a move, and Bai Ye was unable to replicate her jujutsu. Juzu 99 was extremely surprised to witness Bai Ye subduing the cursed spirit. This jujutsu is cursed spirit manipulation. What is his relationship with Natsuo Yuji? Juzu 99 was very curious about Bai Ye, who was possibly also a special grade sorcerer and might have some connection to the Jujutsu High. So she warmly invited Bai Ye, saying, "Are you interested?" However, before she could finish speaking, Bai Ye floated past her, and at the same time, a faint voice came, "What type of man do you like?" Huh? Juzu 99 was instantly stunned, and a blush appeared on her cheeks. What type of man do you like? While she was still in a daze, Bai Ye had already disappeared. 10 Jujutsu rewritten by Bai Ye. Xia Youjie's change, ask for flowers. Friday afternoon at exactly 6 o'clock. After removing a level 2 cursed spirit, Bai Ye, as usual, went to the Lianji girls' school to pick up Riko after school. Since saving Tenuchi Riko a year ago, Bai Ye has made time every day to pick her up from Lianji girls' school. But in this entire year, the situation Bai Ye imagined did not occur. It seems that the Jujutsu High Special Grade Department has forgotten about the Star Plasma body. I wonder what method they used to resolve Tengen's evolution. Could there be other Star Plasma bodies? Bai Ye shook his head. If that were the case, there would be nothing he could do about it. In this year, he has been active in the shadows, searching for powerful sorcerers to copy Jujutsu from. His efforts have paid off, and now Bai Ye's system panel has several types of Jujutsu. Yaga Masamichi's Puppet Jujutsu, the Zenin family's 10 Shadow Techniques, the Kamo family's Red Blood Manipulation, and Nanami Kento's 10 strokes curse technique have all become his jujutsu, possessing powerful offensive capabilities. However, even so, the information he holds in his hands is still too limited. Whether it's news about the special grade cursed spirits, the Mizuhagawa family, or anything related to Tengen, or the King of Curses, Ryomen Sukuna, there has been no progress at all. Could it be because Yuji Itadori has not yet become Sukuna's vessel? Are these forces hiding in the shadows, accumulating their strength? Shinjuku's side hasn't found any results either. It seems impossible to deal with these guys ahead of time. Bai Ye sighed. Putting aside these distractions, Bai Ye arrived outside the school and happened to come across a somewhat lost-looking Natsuo Kamo. It seems he had just returned from somewhere after removing a cursed spirit. Compared to a year ago, Natsuo Kamo has become much thinner. Compared to his former spirited self, he can be described as down and out. He did not notice Bai Ye's presence, nor did he realize he was being followed. Walking on the sparsely populated street, he muttered to himself in complaint, Gojo has already become the strongest. Tasks can also be completed by one person. Shoko wouldn't have gone out to perform dangerous missions in the first place. The result is that I have been spending more time executing tasks alone. Didn't we agree to be close friends? Didn't we promise to become stronger together? Why did I secretly become the strongest on my own? Xia Youjie suddenly stopped in his tracks, looked up at the sky, sighed, and said in a very negative tone, isn't this inevitable? What do I have to complain about? My close friend is getting stronger and I should be happy for him. Xia Youjie scratched his head in frustration. This summer is really busy. It's probably also influenced by the frequent disasters of the previous year. The cursed spirits this year are constantly emerging like maggots. Exterminate, absorb, repeat. Advertisement. Xia Youjie's expression became very serious. The taste of the cursed spirits, unknown to anyone. Before Xia Youjie began to doubt the belief he had set before embarking on the path of a sorcerer. A voice suddenly came, alerting him instantly. I know. The taste of the cursed spirits is like swallowing a cloth that has been wiped with vomit, it's disgusting. Bai Ye appeared from the front intersection, speaking calmly. Right, Xia Youjie. Xia Youjie was startled. The calm street suddenly gave rise to a strong sense of discord. In the moment Bai Ye appeared, he suddenly felt like he was trapped in a quagmire. In his eyes, the immense and overwhelmingly pure cursed power behind Bai Ye seemed like it would devour him in the next second. Gulp. Xia Youjie couldn't help but swallow his saliva. The opponent was too powerful, stronger than Gojo Satoru, and made him feel unreachable. Such thoughts suddenly emerged in his mind. Even the desire to take a step and escape cannot be achieved. As a special grade, he doesn't even have the courage to run away. Who is he? A hidden special grade? No, this level is far beyond what a special grade can measure. Who is he? A jujutsu sorcerer? No, he's not wearing the uniform of a jujutsu high school. Could he be a curse user? No, that's not it either. Although his cursed power is strong, it doesn't contain the slightest bit of killing intent. Who is he? What is his purpose? Countless possibilities flashed through Xia Youjie's mind in an instant. Bai Ye looked at Xia Youjie, who was shocked, and had his own considerations. Xia Youjie's strength is beyond doubt, but it is quite difficult to subdue him. He is too arrogant. He is unwilling to fall behind and likes to act on his own. In the original work, even the persuasion of his close friend Gojo Satoru was in vain. He doesn't fear the pressure of the so-called strongest, strong. Advertisement. Unfortunately, Bai Ye cannot take action against him yet. This matter can only be resolved by Wu personally. However, before that, some efforts should be made. Xia Youjie, you don't have to feel ashamed of losing to Fushiguro Megumi. Look at the whole world. He is the only person who can completely nullify cursed power. Although his cursed power is 0, he can sense cursed spirits with his 5 senses, completely separating his body from cursed power, and gaining resistance to cursed power. If I were to describe him in one word, he is simply a superhuman. Xia Youjie lowered his head, his eyes buried in the shadows. So, do you want me to admit that I am inferior to a powerless monkey? Unfortunately. Bai Ye sighed inwardly. Xia Youjie, do you have the responsibility of being a strong person? Xia Youjie was momentarily stunned, then began to ponder. After a moment, with a distorted expression, he said. The responsibility of a strong person? For whom, those ignorant monkeys? You are so powerful, clearly capable of living freely on your own. Why do you have to toil and labor for these foolish monkeys? And you too, those guys from the Jujutsu high specialization, each and every one of you only care about yourselves, never bothering to consider others' thoughts. Bai Ye let out a faint sigh, understanding that he could no longer change Xia Youjie's mindset. It's truly a pity. Although Bai Ye had a way to temporarily subdue Xia Youjie, the lies he fabricated would eventually be exposed. Bai Ye couldn't make everyone's cursed power disappear, nor could he make everyone learn to control their cursed power. Once Xia Youjie realized this, he would ultimately betray him. Bai Ye was not the kind of person who liked to lie casually. Suppressing his cursed power, Bai Ye answered Xia Youjie's question before leaving. Because I have people I want to protect, Bai Ye disappeared with his voice. After Bai Ye left, Xia Youjie realized that he was already drenched in sweat. But he didn't feel any fear, instead, his face was filled with excitement. If I can achieve this level, 11 emergency, fallen Xia Youjie. If I can achieve this level, I will be able to create a world only for sorcerers, right? To turn the world into a paradise for sorcerers. Xia Youjie had a sinister smile on his face. Disdaining those who are not sorcerers, that is my true self. At this moment, he found his true self, and intended to carry it out to the end. Bai Ye could only sigh helplessly from the shadows. It would be easy to kill Xia Youjie, but doing so might risk losing Gojo Satoru's trust, which would be more trouble than it's worth. All he could do now was to mentally prepare Gojo Satoru. I hope he still remembers what I said back then. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he disappeared from the shadows. Soon, he reappeared at the entrance of the Renshi girls' school. As usual, Bai Ye's appearance caused the teachers and students to scream in excitement. Bai Ye, you're as handsome as ever, you look extra refreshing today. You're becoming more and more elegant, amidst the enthusiastic praises from the female students. Pink envelopes, notes filled with contact information, were all stuffed into Bai Ye's hands. After a year of spending time together, Tenchi Noriko, who had become accustomed to this scene, would sometimes help Bai Ye tidy up a portion of them. On the way back, Tenchi, who had changed her usual personality, lowered her head slightly today, her gaze fixed on her own toes. Bai Ye. What's wrong, Noriko? Bai Ye asked, meeting her gaze, causing Tenchi's face to instantly turn red. I have to clarify that this isn't a question I wanted to ask myself, it's from my classmates. That's right, my classmates want to know if you have a girlfriend, or if there's someone you like. Tenchi's eyes carried a hint of anxiety and anticipation. Bai Ye reached out and rubbed Tian's hair, thinking to himself, I didn't expect Riko to have such a tsundere personality. You have someone you like, huh? Bai Ye's answer surprised Tian. It's precisely because I have someone I like that I appeared here, Bai Ye said with a refreshing smile. Tian shyly lowered her head and gently twisted her body, so it's because of me. Sorry, Riko, you might have to go back alone from here on. I suddenly remembered that there's something I need to take care of. Bai Ye showed an apologetic smile and then disappeared without a trace. He suddenly received a message from Gojo Satoru, advertisement. First-year student at Jujutsu High, Yuji Itadori, deceased. Soon after, Bai Ye met up with Gojo Satoru. He could clearly feel Gojo Satoru's low spirits and self-blame. It was supposed to be a level 2 cursed spirit extermination mission with no difficulty. Damn it. The Jujutsu Shrine Faith. So it was a land god, it's a level 1 case. If we had discovered it earlier and sent a level 1 sorcerer, this wouldn't have happened. Watching Gojo Satoru blame himself incessantly, Bai Ye patted his shoulder. Satoru, it's not your fault. Do you remember what I said? Gojo Satoru looked up at Bai Ye, his eyes brightening as if he had grasped a ray of redemption. Even I can't save everyone, huh, teacher Bai Ye? Bai Ye nodded gently. Let's go, we'll remove that curse and avenge Yuji. Teacher Bai Ye. The two of them moved forward, one in front and one behind. Gojo Satoru, walking behind, looked at Bai Ye's figure and always had a feeling that Bai Ye was capable of anything. It was as if Bai Ye had known that this day would come a long time ago. Since their first meeting, Bai Ye had constantly saved and enlightened him. He increasingly felt that Bai Ye's image was so tall and majestic. He also felt that his decision to become Bai Ye's disciple was so wise. Arriving at the scene, it was a mess after the battle. Bai Ye sensed it slightly and confirmed that it was a grade 1 curse. Without any nonsense, he directly lowered a curtain to conceal the aura. Woo, this time it's up to you. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he walked away. Because he judged that Gojo Satoru now needed some time alone. Realizing Bai Ye's thoughtfulness, Gojo Satoru's eyes became slightly moist. As someone who had lost his juniors, now was the time for him to vent. On the other side, at the same time, in XX County, XX City, XX Village. Advertisement Xia Youjie was investigating a new mission he had received. To find out the cause of the population disappearance and abnormal deaths in the village, and to eliminate the cursed spirit responsible for the incidents. Led by the villagers, Xia Youjie arrived at the basement. There, he saw 2 little girls locked in a cage, their faces disfigured, clearly having suffered abuse. What is this? Xia Youjie asked with a somewhat indifferent expression. What do you mean? These 2 are the cause of the whole incident. A fat and big-eared man said with disgust, "Their heads are not normal. They have repeatedly attacked the villagers with unimaginable strength." "No, it's not true. The cause of the incident has already been eliminated by me," the two little girls denied it. "My grandson was almost killed by them too," an old woman said with a look of hatred as if she wanted to kill the two of them. "That's because he—" "Shut up, monster. Your parents are the same as you, they're all monsters. If I had known, I would have killed you when you were still babies." Although the little girl in the cage tried to explain, the villagers did not believe her and accused her one after another. After understanding the whole incident, Xia Youjie understood everything. It's just the fear of the weak monkeys without magic power towards the strong. It's just the ugliness of the weak, to actually do such a thing, unforgivable. Although he felt extremely disgusted with this group of monkeys without magic power, a smile appeared on his face like never before. Only he knew how dangerous that smile was. "Everyone, let's go outside first." After a moment, the entire village was filled with screams. "Ah! What are you doing? No, 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 why? Please, stop." Soon after, the whole village fell silent. Xia Youjie coldly withdrew his cursed spirit, lightly dusting off the corner of his clothes that had just been dragged by the monkeys. Ignorant monkeys. Only people like him deserve this world. In Xia Youjie's mind, Bai Ye's figure appeared involuntarily. 12 Gojo Satoru's growth, Bai Ye's words, asking for flowers. On the day of the village investigation mission, Bai Ye secretly passed on the message to Jujutsu High School through covert means. Summer Oil Jia's escape, however, Jujutsu High School dismissed it, not believing the information left by someone of unknown background. Until 5 days later, still no feedback from the investigation of Summer Oil Jia. Jujutsu High School finally realized something was wrong. They quickly dispatched an assistant supervisor to the village to confirm the investigation. They discovered that all 112 villagers in the entire village had been killed. Initially, it was speculated that it was the work of a cursed spirit, and that Summer Oil Jia was defeated and killed by the cursed spirit. However, through analysis of the residuals, it was ultimately determined that it was the work of Summer Oil Jia's cursed spirit manipulation technique. Summer Oil Jia's escape was officially confirmed. According to Jujutsu regulations, Jujutsu High School determined that Summer Oil Jia was a sorcerer and was considered a target for execution. Inside Jujutsu High School, Yaga Masamichi held the note delivered by Bai Ye with a serious expression. Who could it be? They were able to discover Summer Oil Jia's escape before us. How foolish, I actually turned a blind eye to such important information. Yaga Masamichi felt a great deal of self-blame. If it weren't for this message, we would still be in the dark. I really want to meet the owner of this note. If we can convince them to join the Jujutsu Alliance, it would be a great help to the Jujutsu world. On the other side, Gojo Satoru had only recently emerged from the guilt of Yuji Itadori's death when Bai Ye couldn't bear to burden him and didn't mention Summer Oil Jia's escape. Instead, Bai Ye continuously conveyed a message to him. No one can save everyone, all they can do is help those who are ready to be helped. Bai Ye glanced at the cheerful Gojo Satoru and said, "You should have received the message from high school, right?" Gojo Satoru looked surprised. How does teacher Bai Ye know so much? "I just received an urgent meeting message myself. They probably haven't told teacher Bai Ye yet." Bai Ye didn't answer Gojo Satoru's question, but said, "Go, perhaps there's a task that only you can complete on high school's side." Gojo Satoru paused for a moment, then stood up and bowed deeply to Bai Ye. "During this time, I have been taken care of by teacher Bai Ye. The list you gave me, I will definitely ensure the successful completion of the mission." Bai Ye waved his hand and did not speak any further. Gojo Satoru did not delay and quickly returned to Jujutsu High School. However, as he entered the school, a shocking news reached his ears like a bolt from the blue. Hey, are you kidding me? Or did I mishear something? Gojo Satoru found it difficult to accept this news. He repeatedly confirmed with the person in front of him, hoping that everything was a lie. Advertisement? How could Yaga do such a thing? He has no reason to do so. However, Yaga Masamichi regretfully told him, "How many times do you want me to repeat it?" Yaga Masamichi killed everyone in the village and is currently missing. Jujutsu High School has considered him as an execution target. I'm going to find him. Gojo Satoru completely disbelieved this statement and was about to leave, but Yaga Masamichi stopped him. Yaga Masamichi's house is already empty. Based on the bloodstains and residuals at the scene, we conclude that he killed his own parents with his own hands. Yaga Masamichi looked regretful. How is that possible? Gojo Satoru clenched his teeth, still unable to believe it. Go. Calm down. I know it's hard for you to accept, and it's hard for me to accept too, but Yaga Masamichi is no longer the Yaga Masamichi we knew. I simply can't understand why he did this. Yaga Masamichi couldn't help but clench his fist, even the veins on his forehead were clearly visible. If I had taken action earlier based on that note. At least I could have saved Yaga Masamichi's parents, maybe even bring him back. On the streets of Kyoto. The smoking area. Ieri Shoko, who was in the same period as Gojo Satoru and Yaga Masamichi, took out a cigarette and was about to light it. Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared in her line of sight. The execution target, Yaga Masamichi. At this moment, Xia Youjie casually greeted Ieri Shoko as if nothing had happened. Hey, do you need a light? Ieri Shoko was somewhat surprised. Isn't this the little criminal brother? What brings you here? Xia Youjie smiled nonchalantly, with the image of the person he admired appearing in his mind. He appeared here solely to find Bai Ye, to find the person he revered, who was worthy of this world. However, he gained nothing. He shrugged and said, let's just say I'm trying my luck. Oh, Ieri Shoko looked puzzled. May I ask if you were wrongfully accused? Xia Youjie sighed and truthfully replied, unfortunately, no. Ieri Shoko asked curiously, may I ask why? The image of Bai Ye once again appeared in Xia Youjie's mind, and he said firmly, I want to create a world only for sorcerers. Huh? What on earth is that? While speaking, Ieri Shoko took out her phone and dialed Gojo Satoru's number. Xia Youjie seemed indifferent to Shoko's actions and continued, I'm not a child, I don't expect everyone to understand. As long as I can gain that person's recognition. Advertisement. He didn't say the latter sentence out loud, but silently thought it in his heart. In the crowd not far away, Bai Ye put on a mask and disguised himself as a passerby, listening to the conversation between the two and couldn't help but sigh. Xia Youjie had ultimately chosen this path. Bai Ye wanted to intervene and subdue Xia Youjie, but he understood that this was a good opportunity for Gojo Satoru to mature quickly. Moreover, it would be better for this matter to be resolved by Wu. Considering this, Bai Ye directly left the scene. After a long time, Gojo Satoru found Bai Ye with a weary expression on his face. He wanted to say something, but ultimately swallowed his words. Bai Ye sighed helplessly and calmly asked, as if knowing everything, why didn't you pursue? Gojo Satoru, not being foolish, naturally understood the unspoken words of Bai Ye. He looked up suddenly, his face filled with surprise, and said, Bai Ye, you. No need to ask. I know, Bai Ye replied. Gojo Satoru, with a look of confirmation, received the answer. Then he self-doubtingly asked, Bai Ye, am I really strong? Bai Ye stood beside Gojo Satoru and nodded gently, saying in a calm tone, yes, not only are you strong, but you are also equally arrogant. Gojo Satoru showed no surprise at Bai Ye's answer. Instead, he said to Bai Ye, but, just as you said. Being strong on my own is far from enough. Looking at Gojo Satoru's self-reproachful expression, Bai Ye continued, Wu, do you remember what I told you? Be alone in silence. When you figure it out, come find me. After saying this, Bai Ye left, giving Gojo Satoru some personal space. And Bai Ye's words also awakened Gojo Satoru. A flash of lightning crossed his mind. He finally understood the meaning behind Bai Ye's words. In that instant, he grew. He can only save those who are ready to be saved. So that's what Bai Ye meant. Bai Ye, Gojo Satoru called out. Are you really all-knowing and all-powerful? Gojo Satoru looked in the direction where Bai Ye had left, feeling incredibly shocked. 13 Special Curse, Akatsu Jewish, asking for flowers. In November 2016, Jujutsu History. Gojo Satoru has graduated from his third year at a technical college and is now a teacher at Jujutsu Technical High School, following Bai Ye's suggestion. Jujutsu Technical High School in Kyoto. In a room covered with talismans all around. In the center seat, there is currently a young boy who is unconscious. The boy's name is Akatsu Yuta, one of the individuals that Bai Ye instructed Gojo Satoru to pay special attention to. Bai Ye-sensei, are you really asking me to be his teacher? Gojo Satoru looks at Akatsu Yuta with some concern about his own ability to handle the task. If it were you, Bai Ye-sensei, you would definitely teach him better than I could. Gojo Satoru's face is filled with immense respect. He truly respects Bai Ye from the bottom of his heart. Even though he has become so strong now, strong to the point where there are no opponents in this world. But when facing Bai Ye, he still feels an unfathomable sense. This feeling makes him feel danger. Bai Ye-sensei is undoubtedly the strongest. And he himself is at best the strongest below the strongest. Bai Ye sighs and looks at Gojo Satoru, who has a look of admiration, and says, Satoru, I once mentioned that I have a dream, right? Gojo Satoru seriously recalls and exclaims, yes, it was when Bai Ye-sensei treated me to ramen. But at that time, sensei didn't say specifically what it was. Bai Ye smiles slightly, then looks at Gojo Satoru seriously and says, Satoru should also understand that the upper echelons of the technical college are a den of demons in the jujutsu world. There are idiots who shrink their heads, hereditary idiots, arrogant idiots, and simply idiots, like a discounted sale of rotten oranges. So I want to reset this garbage jujutsu world. For this, I need to cultivate powerful and intelligent companions. Bai Ye paused intentionally and observed Gojo Satoru's reaction. As expected, Gojo Satoru appeared very surprised. As expected, Teacher Bai Ye's dream is so ambitious. Teacher Bai Ye is truly remarkable. I can only hold him back with my limited understanding. Gojo Satoru, you must also have a higher understanding. At the very least, you should have the understanding worthy of being called Teacher Bai Ye's disciple. Ah! Gojo Satoru had a sudden realization in his mind. Advertisement. With Teacher Bai Ye's strength, why not just directly kill all the idiots in the upper echelons of Gaojian? Gojo Satoru said seriously. Bai Ye smiled slightly and shook his head gently, saying, it would be easy to kill all the idiots in the upper echelons of Gaojian, but that would just be replacing one group of people with another, without any substantial change. It's only treating the symptoms, not the root cause. And, if I were to take that approach, I'm sure you wouldn't follow me, so. Before Bai Ye could finish speaking, he was interrupted by the excited Gojo Satoru. No, as long as it's something Teacher Bai Ye approves of, I'm willing to follow it to the death. Bai Ye had a black line on his forehead. What on earth is this guy thinking? This is completely different from the Gojo Satoru he knows. Although Bai Ye felt a little embarrassed, he cleared his throat and continued, ahem. That's why I choose education. While speaking, Bai Ye turned his back to Gojo Satoru and stood with his hands behind his back. I want to cultivate powerful and intelligent companions. You are one of the people I have the highest hopes for. Of course, Akatsuju is also one of them. A few sentences. It seemed to give Gojo Satoru a shock, as if he had been electrocuted. Great. I have gained Bai Ye's approval. Bai Ye is truly kind. The teacher must have said it on purpose, to make me understand that the same thing can be solved in different ways. Although the teacher didn't say it explicitly, this must be the topic the teacher has assigned to me, something that I need to practice for a lifetime. The teacher's way of handling things is worth me learning for a lifetime. Following Bai Ye as my teacher is indeed the wisest decision I have ever made. Bai Ye, I understand. Gojo Satoru became inexplicably excited again. Bai Ye was slightly stunned, wondering what this child had understood again. Are you also Demetrius? However, Bai Ye didn't say much. Advertisement instead, he looked at the still unconscious Akatsu and said, this child still has a big emotional burden. Follow the method I told you to help him resolve it. But, Bai Ye, what about the curse on him? Should we remove it directly? Gojo Satoru asked, puzzled. Bai Ye smiled faintly. Just do as I said, leave the rest to me. Bai Ye looked at Akatsu with a somewhat regretful expression on his face. A special grade cursed spirit, Inumaki Zenin, what a pity. Although it's regrettable that I can't subdue you, but who made you someone I really like? For the sake of the person I like, I am willing to transform into a curse to protect him. This pure feeling deeply moves Bai Ye. It seems that I can only lift the curse. I'll give you liberation. Bai Ye was about to leave when he suddenly remembered something. Oh, by the way, I should mention that Akatsu Yuta has a blood relationship with you. He is also a descendant of Sugawara no Mishizane. Huh? Gojo Satoru was instantly shocked. Seeing Gojo Satoru's surprised expression, Bai Ye smiled slightly. Although the blood relationship is distant, he can still be considered your relative. You two should get along well. After saying that, Bai Ye disappeared without a trace. Leaving behind Gojo Satoru and Akatsu Yuta. 14 Untie the knot of Jewish people and pray for the whole picture of Lixiang. Ask for flowers. Bai Ye had not been gone for long when Akatsu Yuta woke up groggily. Looking at everything unfamiliar before him, he appeared somewhat nervous. Where am I? And who are you? Akatsu Yuta couldn't help but ask as he looked at the person in front of him, Gojo Satoru. I'm Gojo Satoru, from Jujutsu High School. Gojo Satoru introduced himself, a rare occurrence. Akatsu Yuta, you will be taken in by Jujutsu High School and will soon transfer there, Gojo Satoru informed him. I won't go. Akatsu Yuta refused without hesitation. I don't want to hurt anyone anymore, so I won't go. I want to end it all, but Rika won't allow me to do so. Every time I try to end my life, she stops me. Akatsu Yuta lowered his head in despair and confided in Gojo Satoru. Hearing these words, which should have made one feel heavy-hearted, Gojo Satoru seemed somewhat excited at this moment. Teacher Bai Ye is truly amazing. He hasn't even met Akatsu Yuta before, yet he can guess the situation like this. Could it be that Teacher Bai Ye is truly an all-knowing and all-seeing god? Soon, Gojo Satoru thought of Bai Ye's advice and repeated, as Bai Ye had instructed him, you're so negative. But if you don't go to Jujutsu High School, won't you be lonely by yourself? This statement seemed to touch Akatsu Yuta's heart, causing him to tighten his grip on his own arm. Seeing that Bai Ye's guidance was effective, Gojo Satoru continued, the curse on your body, if used properly, can also save people. Go to Jujutsu High School and learn how to use your power. Jujutsu High School is a place to learn about curses, a place specifically for studying how to remove curses. That's the Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu Technical High School. I will teach you with all my might, of course, you will make many friends there. This statement caused Akatsuyuda's emotions to fluctuate, showing a hint of anticipation on his face, but quickly turning negative again. Gojo Satoru then said to himself, but forget about the higher-ups at Jujutsu High School. If there's a chance, I'll introduce you to my super strong, super handsome, super amazing idol. By the way, everything I have related to Jujutsu is guided by that person. And because of his existence, the curse on your body will never harm anyone again. Gojo Satoru's words stirred a slight interest in Akatsuyuda, who had been extremely negative. I couldn't help but have a slight admiration for that person. Seeing how effective his teacher's words were, Gojo Satoru couldn't help but admire Bai Ye even more in his heart. With this anticipation, Akatsuyuda followed Gojo Satoru and arrived at Jujutsu High School. Introduced by Gojo Satoru, Akatsuyuda met Zenonmaki, Panda, and Inumaki Toge. With Akatsuyuda's addition, the first year became a group of 4. Watching the 4 of them start chatting with each other, Gojo Satoru had a smile on his face. Bai Ye's list already has 3 people, Maki, Yuta, and Inumaki. They all have the potential to become powerful Jujutsu sorcerers in the future. Advertisement, I can't even imagine it. Bai Ye was able to recognize their outstanding potential 10 years ago. Bai Ye sensei, please accept my admiration once again. Thinking this in his heart, Gojo Satoru suddenly remembered another thing Bai Ye had instructed. Oh, by the way, the Jujutsu practicum in the afternoon will be divided into 2 groups. The location is at an elementary school, in the afternoon. When several people arrived at the school, Bai Ye had already been waiting at the school. However, he didn't show up, but instead hid in the shadows. He wanted to see with his own eyes what this special grade cursed spirit, Kamo Noritoshi, looked like. Not only that, he also wanted to take this opportunity to open Akatsuyuda's mental block and persuade him to voluntarily resolve the curse. Under Gojo Satoru's arrangement, Akatsuyuda and Zenonmaki formed a team of 2 and began searching for missing children and removing curses in the school. After Gojo Satoru lifted the curtain, he approached Bai Ye. With great respect, he asked, Teacher Bai Ye, is it really okay to leave them like this? It's just a grade 2 curse, they'll be fine, Bai Ye said lightly. Just wait here, I have some things to take care of. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he entered the curtain directly. With a slight sense, he keenly sensed the residuals left by Akatsuyuda and Zenonmaki. When he arrived at the place where the residuals disappeared, he saw a huge cursed spirit. It was muttering incoherently, thank you, thank you, thank you for your hospitality. It seems like it was swallowed by a curse, huh? Bai Ye said, flying directly in front of the cursed spirit and carefully examining it. The cursed spirit also noticed Bai Ye and felt the powerful curse energy emanating from him, making the cursed spirit appear somewhat afraid. Please, please, please don't hurt me, I'm just hungry and want to eat. I haven't eaten any humans. Although the cursed spirit behaved like a human, a curse was still a curse, and Bai Ye wouldn't show mercy to the cursed spirit. However, he didn't immediately remove the curse. Instead, he raised his hand and directly opened a hole in the cursed spirit's stomach. Without wasting any words, he flew straight into the cursed spirit's stomach. Inside, he saw Akatsuyuda, who looked panicked, Zenonmaki, who was injured and unconscious, and the 2 missing children. One of the conscious children pleaded for help from Akatsuyuda, saying, Big brother, save us, I don't want to die. Faced with the child's plea for help, Akatsuyuda appeared very passive. Even if you tell me these things, Just then, a figure appeared among them, interrupting Akatsuyuda's words. Bai Ye looked calmly at Akatsuyuda, who looked scared and wanted to escape, and spoke in a cold tone, Akatsuyuda, what exactly are you doing at Jujutsu High School? What do you want? What do you desire? What do you want to achieve? Advertisement. Bai Ye's tone showed no emotional fluctuations, but it brooked no interference. Bai Ye's sudden appearance and the 3 consecutive questions made Akatsuyuda unable to help but start thinking, and memories flashed through his mind like a revolving lantern. I don't want to hurt anyone anymore. I've tried locking myself up, even wanted to disappear from the world. But, when that person said, such a person would be too lonely, I couldn't say anything in response. I want to have interactions with others, I want to be needed by people. Akatsuyuda shouted these words with all his might. Now that I have made friends, but I haven't met the person that Gojo-sensei mentioned. The person even my respected teacher, Gojo, admires, I also want to meet. So, I want to live. Upon hearing Akatsu's heartfelt cry, Bai Ye finally had a slight smile on his face. He then told Akatsu, in that case, remove this curse. Remove all curses. Whether it's the confidence to live, the reason, or companions and friends, they will surely come afterwards. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he withdrew from the curse within Akatsu's body. And at this moment, Akatsu finally took the initiative to borrow the power of the curse, Princess Rika, for the first time. Akatsu put the ring that had been hanging around his neck onto his hand. Rika. What's the matter? Please lend me your power. Perhaps it was Princess Rika's nature, or perhaps it was the first time she was needed by someone she liked. Princess Rika showed great excitement. With a few people coming out from within the cursed spirit, they easily killed this level 2 cursed spirit. The eyes of the cursed spirit were filled with blood mist. On the other side, Gojo Satoru stood quietly beside Bai Ye. Feeling the curse power on Princess Rika, Gojo Satoru couldn't help but exclaim, "It's amazing, is this the true form of the special grade cursed spirit, Princess Rika?" From a different perspective than Gojo Satoru's, seeing Princess Rika so excited that she seemed a little crazy, Bai Ye inexplicably thought of his younger sister, Tenriko, who had been showing more and more signs of being obsessed with him in recent years. Women are truly terrifying creatures. 15 Jewish decision, daily life with Riko, forgive me. With the help of Bai Ye, Akatsu Yuda finally mustered the courage to remove a grade 2 curse on his own strength. Taking advantage of the distraction caused by the special grade cursed spirit, Inumaki Toge, who was slaughtering the curse, Akatsu Yuda escaped with Maki and the others. However, the combined weight of the three almost crushed him here. I can't fall down yet, not yet, weren't you determined to make a change here? Haven't you still not met the idol that Gojo-sensei admires? I will do my best. Outside the school, Gojo Satoru looked at Bai Ye and asked, Bai Ye-sensei, if Inumaki Toge goes berserk, it will bring great danger, won't it? Bai Ye glanced at Gojo Satoru and calmly said, that's right. It's possible that even this city could be destroyed. Gojo Satoru was suddenly shocked. Then, Bai Ye-sensei, you. Bai Ye raised his hand to stop Gojo Satoru from speaking and said, have you discovered anything from Inumaki Toge? In response to Bai Ye's question, Gojo Satoru racked his brain but came up with nothing, so he could only shake his head. Bai Ye smiled and said, perhaps it's not Inumaki Toge who cursed Akatsu Yuda, but he cursed Inumaki Toge. I personally believe that there is no curse more twisted than love in this world. After saying this, Bai Ye noticed that Akatsu Yuda and the others had already escaped, so he ignored Gojo Satoru's warning and left. With the removal of the cursed spirit, Gojo Satoru lifted the effect of the curse. Seeing that the danger had passed, Akatsu Yuda collapsed to the ground, exhausted. Meanwhile, Gojo Satoru regained his usual playful demeanor. Welcome back. Oh, that was quite a miserable experience. Advertisement. But you worked hard, Yuda. Under Gojo Satoru's arrangement, Akatsu Yuda and his group were all arranged for treatment. Inside the medical room, Akatsu Yuda looked at the ring on his ring finger, his cheeks slightly flushed, as if he had thought of something. Gojo-sensei. This is the first time I voluntarily called out Rika. Gojo Satoru was somewhat surprised. Is that so? You've made progress. His surprise was not about Akatsu Yuda seeking help from Rika for the first time, but about Bai Ye. Although he didn't know what Bai Ye had done during the time he was inside the curse, the fact that Akatsu Yuda, who originally detested and hated using this power, voluntarily sought help from it. It was truly amazing. Akatsu Yuda didn't notice that Gojo Satoru beside him was acting a bit differently, and continued, through this experience, I remembered some things. I think, perhaps it wasn't Rika who cursed me, but I who cursed Rika. As soon as Akatsu Yuda finished speaking, Gojo Satoru appeared visibly excited and shocked. Open black lens bracket teacher Bai Ye is truly amazing. Close black lens bracket open black lens bracket to think that after only meeting Kibun Lixiang once, he was able to deduce all of these things. While I didn't notice anything and could only marvel. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket indeed. Compared to teacher Bai Ye, I am far behind. Close black lens bracket. As Gojo Satoru thought this in his heart, he suddenly remembered something Bai Ye had said. After pondering for a few seconds, Gojo Satoru repeated it. Personally, I believe there is no curse in this world more twisted than love. He didn't know if Akatsu Yuda had taken it to heart, but Gojo Satoru was already intoxicated by Bai Ye's words. Teacher Gojo. Akatsu Yuda clenched his fist, with a determined look as if making a solemn vow. I will break Jujutsu High's curse on Lixiang. In the shadows, Bai Ye's mouth curled into a slight smile, evading Gojo Satoru's probing. He couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief in his heart. Finally, Akatsu Yuda had a short-term goal to live for. Advertisement with this result, Bai Ye was no longer worried and went straight back to his apartment. Inside the apartment, when Tenin Riko returned from work, Bai Ye had already prepared the meal. Tenin Riko, who had grown 10 years older and graduated from university, now worked in a famous company, living a seemingly ordinary life. After 10 years of growth, Riko had blossomed into a graceful and beautiful young woman. Her figure, without an ounce of excess fat, was fully revealed under the small suit. Now, she was living together with Bai Ye. However, Bai Ye treated her like a younger sister and didn't have any ulterior motives. As for Tian, as Bai Ye had thought, he was starting to develop a tendency towards being overly protective of her. As soon as she entered the room, Rizi changed into a different set of clothes and approached Bai Ye, sticking to him like a fly. Just as she was about to speak, her eyebrows furrowed and she asked sternly, "I'm telling you, did you go fooling around with other women again? I can't stand it. I won't allow my own brother, who I live with, to become a jerk." Clearly having such a beautiful and charming younger sister, yet you're still not satisfied. To be honest, who did you meet today? Bring her over and let me check her out for you. Rizi's last sentence was filled with hostility, completely unlike someone who wanted to help Bai Ye check on the other person. Faced with Tian's probing questions, Bai Ye could only smile helplessly. "Rizi, your nose is getting sharper and sharper. HMPH, of course. Who let me have such an unreliable and constantly worrying brother?" Rizi raised her head proudly. "Hey," Tian suddenly realized something was off. "I'm telling you, don't try to change the subject. Quickly tell me who that person is." 16 Bai Ye, who predicts things like a god, repeater Gojo Satoru, asking for flowers. The next morning, Bai Ye woke up early. After sending Riko to work, he took the opportunity to meet Gojo Satoru. Knowing that Bai Ye was looking for him, Gojo Satoru seemed a little excited. "Bai Ye-sensei, is there something urgent?" Bai Ye raised an eyebrow. "Why do you ask like that?" "Because this is the first time Bai Ye-sensei has come to me on your own. It must be something important." Bai Ye was speechless. But it wasn't surprising that Gojo Satoru would think that way. If it were him, he would have the same thought. However, Bai Ye didn't waste any time and went straight to the point. Regarding the complete manifestation of Qihai Jianren this time, the higher-ups at the College of High Sorcery might have some complaints about you. But you don't have to worry too much. Those people at the College of High Sorcery are like that, a bunch of old stubborn ones. As Bai Ye said this, Gojo Satoru nodded repeatedly, fully agreeing with Bai Ye's words. If you can't understand, you can't control. This is what we call the trial and error method, finding solutions through repeated experiments and failures. But we're lucky. The complete manifestation of Qihai Jianren this time has already given us some insights. It's practically impossible to remove such a massive curse like Qihai Jianren. But if it's dissolving, that's a different story. Huh? Gojo Satoru was suddenly shocked. Even Bai Ye-sensei can't remove it? Bai Ye didn't answer, but just smiled lightly. His goal was not to remove it, because he had never seen Qihai Jianren as a curse. He had always seen her as a person. Seeing that Bai Ye did not answer his own question, Gojo Satoru asked again, "So how exactly should we do it?" Gojo Satoru took out a notebook, prepared to take notes. Think of it as thousands of curses intertwined, and unravel them one by one. Bai Ye looked at Gojo Satoru seriously and said, "Only Akatsu himself, who has been cursed, can do this. Go should know that curses are most stable when attached to objects." Gojo Satoru simply nodded. The medium between Akatsu and Rika Orimoto has already formed, it's the ring. Now we need to make him use something else to receive Rika's curse and control it. In doing so, not only Akatsu, but Rika Orimoto will also regain her freedom. "I leave this matter to you," Bai Ye said, raising his hand to pat Gojo Satoru's shoulder. And Gojo Satoru seemed to be injected with a tremendous amount of energy, trembling with excitement. "This is the second task that Bai Ye-sensei has entrusted to me. Advertisement, I must complete it well. Yes, leave it to me, Bai Ye-sensei." Bai Ye had no doubt about Gojo Satoru's ability to handle things, but he still needed to polish his character, so Bai Ye said something for Gojo Satoru to hear. "Encourage them to grow, rather than letting them always live under our protective umbrella. That's what I want." Bai Ye paused intentionally and then said, "Go, this is my way of doing things." Gojo Satoru nodded repeatedly, furiously writing in his notebook. Every time he heard Bai Ye say these things, he would become extremely excited. This is the teaching of Bai Ye-sensei. Write it down. I must write it down. In this case, even if teacher Bai Ye is not by my side, I can still constantly review these teachings, which will bring me closer to teacher Bai Ye. Bai Ye sighed and looked at Gojo Satoru, who was gradually becoming a bit like Genos, feeling somewhat speechless. But he continued, "Go, you must remember that no matter what, we are on Akatsu's side. Those who try to take away the youth of young people are unforgivable, no matter who they are." Gojo Satoru continued to take notes. However, Bai Ye did not stay here any longer. He still had to go and search for Sukuna's fingers. Up until now, he still didn't have any fingers in his possession. I wonder how many of Sukuna's fingers I can handle. Bai Ye muttered to himself and continued to search for powerful cursed spirits. Meanwhile, on the other side, as expected, Gojo Satoru faced criticism from the higher-ups at the Tokyo Metropolitan Jujutsu High School, just as Bai Ye had said. But Gojo Satoru wasn't angry at all. Instead, he praised Bai Ye in his heart. Teacher Bai Ye, I can't find the words to describe you. Everything is within your grasp. Do you really know everything? After the higher-ups finished speaking, Gojo Satoru repeated what Bai Ye had said with a disdainful expression. Then, amidst the gloomy faces of the higher-ups, Gojo Satoru left gracefully. After leaving the meeting place, Gojo Satoru took off his glasses and put on his typical black gauze to cover his eyes. Advertisement, I can't stand it. These ignorant old folks, I absolutely don't want to become like them. Just as Teacher Bai Ye said, no one, no matter who they are, should try to take away the youth of young people. As he said this, Bai Ye's figure appeared in his mind again. I have to become like Teacher Bai Ye, that's my ideal. Well then, let's work hard for that, Gojo Satoru. Wanting to become someone like Teacher Bai Ye is not something that can be achieved just by talking. Gojo Satoru adjusted his mindset and arrived at the training ground. He saw Akatsu and the other three of them training, nodding with satisfaction. Teacher Bai Ye has such high standards. Should I say that Teacher Bai Ye is truly worthy? If only I had the same discerning eye as Teacher Bai Ye. It seems like we have another goal now. In his heart, Gojo Satoru praised Bai Ye in various ways. On the other side, Chu. Having just absorbed a cursed spirit, Bai Ye couldn't help but sneeze. Who was talking behind my back? Bai Ye whispered, then shook his head, leaving behind all the trivial thoughts and continuing on the path of absorbing cursed spirits. At the Jujutsu High Training Ground, Gojo Satoru acted as a parrot once again, repeating what Bai Ye said to Akatsu and the others. After finishing, Gojo Satoru handed a knife to Akatsu and said, first, you need to learn how to use a knife. Secondly, you are too weak and frail. You must undergo thorough training first. After Gojo Satoru finished speaking, he immediately decided that Maki and the others would conduct special training for Akatsu. 17. Copy the Jujutsu dog rule, get a new spell, ask for flowers. In the blink of an eye, Akatsu Yuta has been following Gojo Satoru to Jujutsu High School for 3 months. In these 3 months, after training with Panda, Kugisaki, and Maki, his body has become very flexible. Even his personality has become much more cheerful. At this moment, Gojo Satoru is standing behind Bai Ye, reporting the results. The two of them are standing in a place where Yuta and the others cannot see, observing several people. After listening to Gojo Satoru's report, Bai Ye nods slightly. Well done. With these words of praise from Bai Ye, Gojo Satoru is somewhat surprised and flattered. I have a mission that is very suitable for Kugisaki to carry out. There is a street called Happiness Shopping Street, where there seem to be some low-level cursed spirits, causing most of the shops there to have closed down. I hope Inumaki Toge can remove these cursed spirits. Inside the training ground, Yuta is sparring with Maki using weapons. Maki seems quite happy. No one has sparred with her using weapons before. Saigenji. Inumaki also agrees. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration crosses Panda's mind. Yuta. Come here. Panda beckons to Yuta. What's up, Panda? Yuta stops sparring and walks over. I have a super important question to ask you. You must listen carefully. Although Panda looks a bit embarrassed, he still asks seriously. Do you prefer a G cup or an A cup? Huh? Now you're asking this? The Jew looked confused, but soon he fell into deep thought and shyly said, I haven't really paid much attention to those. However, the panda didn't believe him and instead looked at the Jew with a lewd expression, extending its panda paw to rest on the Jew's shoulder. Using its nose to speak, it expressed doubt, HMPH. Under the influence of the panda's presence, the already shy Jew became even more bashful. I suppose I prefer an average size, not too big or too small. The Jew finished speaking, and the panda let out an even more lewd laugh. Advertisement, oh hee hee hee. Then the panda called out to Maki and gestured, indicating that there was something interesting going on. However, Maki immediately became furious and shouted, what are you speculating about? Do you want to die? The panda, however, remained calm and fearless, saying, still shy, huh? Are you an elementary school student? Alright, I've decided. I'm going to kill you today. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora can't save you. Maki, armed with weapons, charged forward. The two of them immediately started fighting, and at that moment, Gojo Satoru arrived at the training ground. He clapped his hands to get the attention of the 4 people. Alright, Gather up. However, because of his usually frivolous demeanor in front of the students, the panda and Maki didn't pay any attention to his words and continued fighting. Those two over there can continue their training. Gojo Satoru didn't force the two of them to come over because this time, the mission brought by Bai Ye specifically mentioned Inumaki Toge. As the only second-grade sorcerer among the first-year students, Toge had the right to act independently. It seems that teacher Bai Ye wants to test my training results. And he specifically instructed me not to go, but this mission is something Toge can easily handle. However, Bai Ye wasn't considering this issue. He believed that he now possessed the ability to control cursed words, and wanted to take this opportunity to rewrite Inumaki Toge's Jujutsu. Toge, there's a mission that's perfect for you. There's a street called Happiness Shopping Street, where there seems to be some low-level cursed spirits, causing most of the shops there to close down. A special adult has requested you to remove these cursed spirits. You must perform well. Gojo Satoru seemed a little excited. Then he said, Yuji, go with Toge and assist him. But this time, we can't let Kamo Rika come out, or else I'll be in big trouble. This was also Bai Ye's arrangement. Yuji still needed more practical training. After all, to dispel a curse, one must first understand the curse. And this time, there was also a quasi-grade 1 curse that escaped from Sukuna's vessel. Soon, under the guidance of the high-grade assistant supervisor Eiichi Kiyotaka, Yuji and Toge arrived at Happiness Shopping Street. After Toge finished buying throat medicine, Eiichi lowered the curtain. Inside the curtain, Bai Ye hid in the darkness, watching the also hidden Sukuna, with a slight smile on his lips. Advertisement, so, you really came? But it's a pity, this time you won't be able to see Kamo Rika. At this moment, Sukuna hadn't noticed Bai Ye's presence and was leisurely watching Yuji and Toge. Inside Happiness Shopping Street, the two encountered many curses floating in the air, resembling swimming koi. They were all low-level curses. These low-level curses were whispering their grievances. How biased, Mom. My brother has more than me. What's the big deal? Just change it if it's repetitive. Now broadcasting a missing person notice. It's the scent of golden osmanthus. If we all cross the road together, we won't be afraid. Groups of low-level cursed spirits gathered together like schools of fish in the ocean. The weaker the cursed spirit, the more they like to gather together. Although that's true, there are just too many of them. Ju Tai was somewhat surprised to see so many cursed spirits gathered together for the first time. Meanwhile, Thorn pulled up his scarf to cover his mouth and nose, shouting with his jujutsu, cursed speech, explode. As his words fell, the low-level cursed spirits exploded one after another. On the other side, Bai Ye, hidden in the shadows, successfully received a system prompt. Congratulations, host Bai Ye, for successfully rewriting Jujutsu, cursed speech. Just as Bai Ye nodded with a smile, another system prompt came. Congratulations, host Bai Ye, you have obtained a new technique, touch. Bai Ye was somewhat surprised. I actually obtained a new technique. He quickly opened the system panel and saw that the technique column indeed had a new introduction for the technique, touch. Touch, by touching the opponent, you can know their technique information. It seems that there is another way to understand the opponent's technique information. It will be more convenient to rewrite Jujutsu. Bai Ye muttered softly, then saw Xia Youjie releasing a quasi-grade 1 curse that he had absorbed. 18 Advice to Xia Youjie for removing the quasi-level 1 curse, seeking flowers. Just as Yutai and Guken were about to remove this group of low-level cursed spirits and prepare to leave, they suddenly realized that the curtain outside had not disappeared. This means that there are still other cursed spirits here. Just as the two were still somewhat puzzled, a bald, long-nosed cursed spirit suddenly appeared behind them, sitting cross-legged. A powerful curse pressure instantly enveloped the two. Both of them were startled and couldn't help but turn around to look. Hey, what's the deal with this cursed spirit? It feels completely different from the ones before. Just as the two of them thought the same thing in their hearts, this low-level cursed spirit suddenly raised its left hand and made a hand seal with 2 fingers. Zongba. As soon as the words fell, the ground between Guken and Yutai was pierced by a powerful curse force. The shock caused both of them to fall to the ground at the same time. In order to protect Yutai from getting hurt, one of Guken's fingerbones broke, and even the throat medicine was knocked away. Without any hesitation, Guken shouted with all his strength, twist. In an instant, the incantation took effect. The left hand of the cursed spirit was twisted into a spiral. And Guken also reached his limit, his throat unable to bear the burden of the curse force and started coughing up blood. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yutai quickly helped Guken escape. After getting rid of the cursed spirit, the two hid in a temporarily safe corner. Cursed spirit. Wasn't it supposed to be a low-level cursed spirit? This is different from what was said before. Although it's not big, it's obviously much scarier than the big guy in elementary school. While Yutai secretly thought this, he couldn't help but blame himself for being useless. It's all my fault. I'm completely useless. Judah mustered up the courage to look at the cursed spirit that remained in place and secretly thought. Open black lens bracket. It didn't chase after us, nor is it searching for us, but, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Since the curse hasn't been lifted, the only option is to remove it, close black lens bracket. Just as Judah was thinking this, on the street, another figure suddenly appeared across from the cursed spirit. However, the appearance of the person couldn't be clearly seen. Even so, the two could clearly sense the immense curse power emanating from that figure. Open black lens bracket. So powerful. This kind of power is completely different from that of Teacher Gojo, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. No room for negotiation. No room for discussion. Not even a thought of resistance can arise, close black lens bracket. Advertisement. Open black lens bracket. This person is stronger than Teacher Gojo, close black lens bracket. Both of them simultaneously had this thought in their minds. And Xia Youjie, who was hiding in the shadows, felt the same way. While sensing this curse power, he appeared unusually excited. I hit the jackpot. I originally came specifically to see the legendary Kiyohime. I didn't expect to see you again. It's this curse power. It's been 10 years, a whole 10 years, I finally see you again. Xia Youjie suddenly stood up and used every pore in his body to feel this immense curse power. This familiar power made him tremble all over. Ha ha ha. Xia Youjie suddenly grinned. It's still bottomless, just as I thought. Even though 10 years have passed, I have become even stronger, but I still feel fear towards you. I still have no information about you at all. Xia Youjie's body trembled involuntarily. During these 10 years, he never stopped investigating Bai Ye's identity, yet he didn't have a single clue. Meeting again now, how could he not be excited, and on the street? Not far from Bai Ye, that cursed spirit of almost grade 1 also started to get angry at the same time. It's not for no reason, but because of Bai Ye's appearance. A force that seemed to be saying, kill it, enveloped it. The immensely powerful and irresistible force made it roar and tremble as if being electrocuted. Oh. As a cursed spirit of almost grade 1, it possessed a certain level of intelligence. This slight intelligence told it that the man in front of it was not to be messed with. But that's all. This level of intelligence is not enough to give it reason. It only made it feel provoked. Driven by instinct, it tried to raise its still intact right hand to launch an attack. However, in that instant, it heard the last words of its life. Turn to ashes. With a casual and effortless sentence from Bai Ye, the almost grade 1 curse turned to ashes in an instant. Advertisement. At the same time, Yujin, Gojo, and Xia Youjie all had expressions of shock on their faces. Impossible. These 3 words popped into their minds simultaneously. This Jujutsu isn't Gojo's classmate. How does he know this Jujutsu? Who is he? Is this his Jujutsu? But it feels completely different from the last time we met. The 3 of them were secretly shocked in their hearts. Meanwhile, Bai Ye picked up the throat-soothing medicine from the ground and threw it at Gojo. Take good care of your voice, Bai Ye said, then disappeared right in front of their eyes. Even Xia Youjie, who was hiding in the shadows, couldn't catch a glimpse of Bai Ye's movements. However, in the next instant, Xia Youjie's body was covered in goosebumps. Vaguely, a figure as powerful as a god appeared behind him. Gulp. Xia Youjie struggled to swallow a mouthful of saliva. As he slowly turned his head, he felt a hand resting on his shoulder. Xia Youjie, if you continue, you will fall into the depths of darkness. What to do is up to you. As mentioned before, Bai Ye didn't like Xia Youjie. He couldn't bring himself to like someone who could deceive even their closest friends. But he didn't dislike Xia Youjie either. That's why he gave him advice once again. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he didn't linger but left directly. Despite Bai Ye's words, Xia Youjie didn't take them to heart. Instead, witnessing Bai Ye's strength only strengthened his own beliefs. Exactly. The world of sorcerers is the best world. Even if there is no trace of me in the future, I will still create a paradise for sorcerers in this world. As long as this world is inhabited only by sorcerers, it doesn't have to be me who survives. Xia Youjie had a twisted smile on his face as the image of Bai Ye standing in the future era flashed through his mind, filled with fanaticism. 19. Creating a paradise for Master Jujutsu, Xia Youjie's battle letter. In a shrine, this is the headquarters of Xia Youjie and his group. At this moment, someone has come to find Xia Youjie to exorcise spirits. Xia Youjie lazily sits on the floor. Let me see. Ling Yuan has been possessed by an evil spirit. Is that right, Mrs. Sato? The middle-aged woman called Sato says somewhat awkwardly, yes. Ah no, my surname is Saito. Correcting Saito, Xia Youjie says with an expression as if looking at a monkey. No, you are Sato. Because I said so you are Sato. Seeing Xia Youjie being so unreliable, the middle-aged woman's daughter says with a disgusted expression, Mom, let's go back. But you haven't been sleeping well lately. Even so, we shouldn't come to find this half-immortal who plays tricks. Hearing these words, Xia Youjie feels slightly annoyed. Being looked down upon by a monkey without any curse power. So Xia Youjie slowly says, you often feel a needle-like gaze. Sometimes your shoulders feel heavy and it's difficult to breathe, right? It's like forgetting how to breathe, and you often dream of being violated. Behind the young woman, a cursed spirit with 4 hands and many eyes on its head is entwined around her. One pair of hands is choking her neck, and another pair is grabbing her panda. After listening to Xia Youjie's description, the young woman is instantly surprised. How do you know? Don't move. Xia Youjie gently raises his hand and uses Jujutsu, cursed spirit manipulation technique, to absorb the cursed spirit behind the woman. With the burden of the cursed spirit gone, the woman says with some surprise, Huh, is it true? I feel much lighter. After removing the curse, Xia Youjie, the mother and daughter express their gratitude repeatedly. I really don't know how to thank you. The two bow and thank Xia Youjie. It's nothing, it's natural to help each other in times of difficulty. If you encounter any problems again, feel free to come over anytime, Xia Youjie said with a kind expression. It's just providing a service for the cursed monkeys. The mother and daughter also showed gentle smiles. Right? I said the teacher is like a Buddha, After sending the two away, Xia Youjie leaned against the pillar behind him with a disgusted expression. Buddha. That's quite a description. Ignorant monkey who doesn't understand Jujutsu. Just then, a woman walked out from behind him. Advertisement. Your true colors are showing, Lord Xiaoyu. All the cadres are here, please proceed to the conference room. As the woman spoke, Xia Youjie took out a bottle of perfume and started spraying it on himself. What are you doing, Lord Xiaoyu? Disinfecting and deodorizing, can't spread the monkey's stench to everyone. After spraying the perfume, Xia Youjie had a happy expression. So happy, it's been a long time since everyone gathered. Oh, let's take a group photo as a keepsake. Just as Xia Youjie was taking photos with the SLR camera, a roar came from a distance. Xiaoyu, come out, soon. A short, bald middle-aged man with an angry expression ran over. Xiaoyu, you scoundrel. Xia Youjie, on the other hand, calmly asked, isn't this Mr. Jinmori? What's the matter? Why are you so flustered? It would have been better if Xia Youjie hadn't said anything, because with that remark, the middle-aged man became even more furious. Don't play dumb with me, quickly remove the curse on me. Do you know how much money I've spent on you? Xia Youjie was taken aback and asked the woman beside him, how much? About 150 million, but there hasn't been any more donations in the past 6 months. After listening, Xia Youjie sighed helplessly and said, it seems we've reached the limit. Just as he finished speaking, the middle-aged man suddenly felt difficulty in breathing. What? Are you saying? Xia Youjie said coldly, monkey, everyone has their own purpose. There are monkeys for fundraising and monkeys for collecting curses. And you are the former. Without money, you are useless. Snap. As he finished speaking, Xia Youjie snapped his fingers. Several low-level curses immediately began to devour the middle-aged man. But in a moment's time, the man was dead. The woman who had been following Xia Youjie all along looked at the corpse on the ground with a disgusted expression and said, so filthy. Is he really the same kind of human as us? To this question, Xia Youjie calmly walked towards the conference room and said, that's why I've said it before, non-sorcerers are all monkeys. Only that person is truly worthy of this world. He pushed open the door to the conference room. Xia Youjie saw that everyone was present and smiled warmly. My dear family, I have good news to share with all of you. Everyone focused their attention on Xia Youjie, listening intently. Advertisement. Not long ago, I once again encountered the person we worship and admire. After 10 years, that person has become even more powerful, more deserving of our devotion. The time has come, my family. Let us end the era of monkeys. Together, let us create a paradise for Jujutsu sorcerers, led by that person. The first step is to capture the central stronghold of the Jujutsu world, Jujutsu High School. Inside Jujutsu High School, Bai Ye was briefing Gojo Satoru on some matters. Suddenly, he had a bad premonition. Is it coming? Bai Ye sighed. In the end, I have embarked on this path. Gojo Satoru was somewhat puzzled. Bai Ye, what are you talking about? Bai Ye waved his hand and said, go report your findings over at the Happiness Shopping Street. Also, according to your speculation, prepare yourself for countermeasures. Yes, Bai Ye. Gojo Satoru quickly left and found Jujutsu High School Principal Yaga Masamichi to report his findings. After all, it concerned Jujutsu High School. After listening to Gojo Satoru's report, Yaga Masamichi rubbed his chin thoughtfully and said, "Are you being overly cautious?" Gojo Satoru let out a sigh of regret. "Principal, unfortunately, that is impossible. I personally confirmed the scene. How could I mistake the residuals of Jia's cursed energy? Moreover, even Bai Ye himself approves of my speculation. There is absolutely no room for error, surprise." And at this moment, a cursed energy that shocked everyone appeared within the high school. Speak of the devil, Yaga Masamichi immediately took action. All first-grade or higher-grade sorcerers within the school gather at the main turntable. Yaga Masamichi's judgment was correct. In the face of a former special-grade enemy, only sorcerers of a similar level could contend with them. Bai Ye remained in the shadows, coldly observing everything happening below. It seems like a challenge has been issued. In other words, is the night parade of 100 demons about to begin? 20 Gojo Satoru has an idol. The night walk of the 100 ghosts begins, asking for flowers. At this moment, Panda, Doge, Maki, and Yuta stood together. They watched as Xia Youjie suddenly appeared not far away, controlling a cursed spirit that looked like a pelican, which immediately went into a defensive state. "Isn't he a staff member of our school?" Maki said, slowly drawing a cursed tool. "I've never seen that kind of cursed spirit," Panda said. "It's a Shengjinji," Inumaki Toge also denied. Only Yuta Akatsu, looking foolish, exclaimed after a moment of daze, "Wow, what a big bird. Who are you people? How dare you trespass in the school? Yuta Dage won't spare you," Panda suddenly said. Yuta Akatsu looked confused. "Huh? Seaweed," Inumaki Toge agreed. "Before Yuta Dage gets his hands on you, get lost," Maki shouted menacingly, holding a cursed tool and crossing her arms. And just as the two sides began to confront each other, Xia Youjie had a smile on his face and, relying solely on his physical skills, closed the distance between him and Yuta Akatsu in an instant. Before anyone could even catch their breath, he was right in front of Yuta. At this moment, Maki, Doge, and Panda were all shocked at the same time. So fast, Xia Youjie took the initiative to shake hands with Yuta and introduced himself. "Nice to meet you, Akatsu-kun. I am Xia Youjie. You have a great power, and I believe great power should be used to achieve great goals. Do you have any doubts about the world we live in today? The world where Jujutsu sorcerers secretly maintain social order." Xia Youjie suddenly reached out and pulled the somewhat bewildered Akatsu into his arms, passionately exclaiming, "In other words, it's extremely contradictory for the strong to have to adapt to the weak. The spirit of all things has actually voluntarily halted its evolution. It's truly absurd. Humans really should re-examine their survival strategy." As Xia Youjie spoke, he looked at Akatsu with a serious gaze and said, "So, I hope you can help me." "Help you with what?" Xia Youjie revealed a gentle smile, as if he were talking about something pleasant, and said, "Eliminate all non-sorcerers and create a world with only Jujutsu sorcerers. Offer this paradise to that person." Everyone present was shocked by Xia Youjie's words and looked at him in disbelief. Advertisement. And at that moment, Gojo Satoru rushed over. "Don't advocate your crazy ideas in front of my students." Gojo Satoru almost let it slip. "Thank goodness. Although they are all people recognized by Teacher Bai Ye, they're technically my students. I can't make this kind of mistake again. If it were Teacher Bai Ye, he would never show such an ugly side." "Gojo Satoru, you still have a long way to go." Xia Youjie saw Gojo Satoru and immediately showed a delighted expression, as if he were seeing a long-lost brother or relative. "Gaku. Long time no see," and Gojo Satoru snapped out of his thoughts. "Jia, stay away from them for now." In response to Gojo Satoru's words, Xia Youjie not only remained unmoved, but also said to himself, "I heard this year's first-year students are all outstanding. I see, they're all your beloved disciples. Special-grade cursed spirits. Suddenly mutated cursed corpses. Descendants of cursed speech users, and the Zenin family's stragglers." When Xia Youjie mentioned Zenin Maki, he had a mocking expression on his face. "You be asterisk 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 d. Watch your words," Maki scolded angrily. And Xia Youjie regained a calm expression, looking at Maki with eyes as indifferent as looking at trash, and coldly said, "My world doesn't need monkeys like you." Just then, Xia Youjie's hand resting on Akatsu's shoulder was pushed away. Akatsu, with a shadow on his face, said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Xia Youjie, although I don't understand what you're saying. But I will never help someone who insults my friend. Moreover, Gojo Sensei has already said that he will introduce me to an incredibly powerful person, and I haven't met them yet. Until I meet this person whom even Gojo Sensei admires, I will not leave the college." Oh. These two sentences from Akatsu immediately shocked Maki, Panda, and Inumaki. A person who even Gojo Sensei acknowledges as powerful. A person whom even Gojo Satoru admires. Do they really exist? Could he be lying? Could it be Gojo Satoru's teacher? Why have I never heard of them? All three of them had expressions of disbelief on their faces. Even Xia Youjie was very surprised. Looking at his close friend Gojo Satoru not denying it, it made him fall into contemplation. A person whom even Satoru admires. Advertisement. Could it be that person? Impossible. If that person really is by Satoru's side, how could I not have any information about them? But if it's not them, then who could it be? Could it really be a lie? Just as everyone was in a state of extreme shock, Gojo Satoru took the opportunity to insert himself between Xia Youjie and Akatsu. Jia, what exactly are you here for? Xia Youjie's tone was sincere. I came to challenge you. Gather here, everyone, clean your ears and listen carefully. The upcoming December 24th, we will begin the night parade of 100 demons at sunset. Xia Youjie announced loudly. The location will be Curse's Cauldron, Shinjuku, and the Jujutsu Holy Land, Kyoto. At that time, we will release thousands of cursed spirits in each location, and the command given to them will naturally be, exterminate them all. If you don't want to witness hell with your own eyes, then try your best to stop us. Let's curse and kill each other to our heart's content, shall we? And at that moment, Nanao, holding a camera, exclaimed, Ah, Xiaoyu-sama, the shop is about to close. Is it already this late? My apologies, go. Xia Youjie looked gently at his family, and said, These two girls have been clamoring to eat the pancakes on Takashita Street, so we'll take our leave first. Gojo Satoru coldly said, Do you think I'll let you go so easily? Unfazed by Gojo Satoru's threat, Xia Youjie instead released the cursed spirits he had prepared long ago. Instantly, a powerful curse enveloped everyone. I advise you to reconsider. Your beloved students are within my attack range, you know. With the cover of numerous cursed spirits, Xia Youjie and his group prepared to leave Jujutsu High School in a grand manner. As they were about to leave, Xia Youjie warmly greeted, Well then, see you on the battlefield. 21 Gojo Satoru came to ask for advice, Bai Ye's reminder, asking for flowers. After Xia Youjie left, Jujutsu High School immediately entered a state of level 1 alert, gathering almost all of its power here in the meeting room. Yaga Masamichi was passionately rallying everyone. The opponent is a special grade curse user, not only possessing formidable strength, but also the terrifying jujutsu of cursed spirit manipulation. His true combat power is probably not inferior to that of a high-grade sorcerer. Immediately notify the graduates from previous years, including the 3 major families. And also send a request for assistance to the Jujutsu Alliance in Ain. When Yaga Masamichi made this judgment, everyone present was visibly shocked. However, Yaga Masamichi did not stop there. Instead, he said with even greater seriousness, This is a full-scale war. This time, we must completely exorcise this curse called Xia Youjie. Although Yaga Masamichi spoke so gravely, Gojo Satoru was indifferent to it. His mind had long flown to Bai Ye's side. If it were Teacher Bai Ye, what decision would he make? It seems that Teacher Bai Ye also knows cursed spirit manipulation. I'll go ask him later. With this thought in mind, Gojo Satoru easily concluded this serious meeting. After the meeting ended, he couldn't wait to find Bai Ye and revealed the entire plan of Jujutsu High School to him. However, Bai Ye listened without any surprise, which made Gojo Satoru admire him even more. Teacher Bai Ye, do you also know cursed spirit manipulation? Can you give me some insight into how you view Jia's actions this time? Facing Gojo Satoru's question, Bai Ye seemed to have already anticipated that Gojo Satoru would ask such a question. Without hesitation, he said, Go should have heard it from Xia Youjie, right? Cursed spirit manipulation is a jujutsu that can absorb naturally generated cursed spirits without any restrictions and manipulate them freely. Gojo Satoru nodded repeatedly. However, Bai Ye let out a sigh. You are still too naive. Is it because he is your close friend? In response to Bai Ye's sudden reproachful tone, Gojo Satoru looked like a child who had done something wrong. What do you mean, Teacher Bai Ye? Did Jia lie? Bai Ye looked deeply into Gojo Satoru's eyes. That's right. Advertisement, he deceived all of you with lies he weaved during his student days. The true cursed spirit manipulation, regardless of any restrictions, as long as it replaces the person it depends on, it can absorb as many curses as it wants. As Bai Ye said this, he deliberately paused and glanced at Gojo Satoru's reaction. As he had guessed, Gojo Satoru appeared somewhat incredulous, realizing that he had been deceived by his close friend. And it had been for a whole 10 years, however, Gojo Satoru's reaction also brought some relief to Bai Ye. There was no extreme response. So he continued, according to the class conversion, when there is a difference of 2 or more levels, the process of subduing can be skipped, and one can almost unconditionally obtain the cursed spirit. Upon hearing this, Gojo Satoru was once again shocked. Cursed spirit manipulation is indeed very powerful. After uttering this exclamation, Gojo Satoru's gaze towards Bai Ye became even more intense. Bai Ye is so handsome. He even knows this. It was the right decision to come find Bai Ye. Bai Ye, according to the information we have, does Jia really possess over 2,000 cursed spirits? Is this information true? Bai Ye nodded slightly and said, based on my estimation, the number of cursed spirits he possesses is probably far more than 2,000, possibly double that number. Bai Ye was well aware that when Xia Youjie unleashed the night parade of 100 demons, he possessed a total of 4,462 cursed spirits. And among them were not lacking special grade cursed spirits. Hiss. Gojo Satoru took in a sharp breath. To think there are over 4,000 cursed spirits, he said, not doubting Bai Ye's speculation. As long as it was Bai Ye speaking, he unconditionally chose to believe it. Although that may be the case, according to the data from the high specialization, most of the cursed spirits Jia possesses are weaklings below grade 2. The number of sorcerers under his command probably won't exceed 50. As Gojo Satoru said this, he looked at Bai Ye with anticipation, hoping for confirmation from him. However, Bai Ye's next words left him feeling cold. Don't you think this is even more terrifying? He said. You should be aware of Xia Youjie's personality, right? He wouldn't willingly start a losing war. Advertisement, damn it, how could he have forgotten this point? If it weren't for Bai Ye reminding him, he might have fallen for it. Gojo Satoru slapped his thigh hard, appearing somewhat annoyed. Bai Ye, on the other hand, remained calm as usual. He got up and took a few steps, then turned slightly to give Gojo Satoru a meaningful hint and said, Gojo, listen carefully. I always feel that Xia Youjie's true purpose in the night parade of 100 demons is not what he claims it to be. Gojo Satoru suddenly understood as if he had been enlightened. Bai Ye, are you saying that Jia has another motive for doing this? Yes, Bai Ye turned his head and looked at the distant sky, softly replied. He wants to isolate Akatsu and then replace him as the person relied upon by Kamo Riko, right? Bai Ye smiled slightly. Unfortunately, with me here, you won't succeed. I won't let you treat Kamo Riko as a curse to be commanded. She is a girl full of love, she is a person with emotions and principles. Curse? Those two words are not used to describe her. P.S. I got the protagonist name wrong, it's my mistake. Itadori Yuji, Itadori Yuji, Itadori Yuji. Say it 3 times to avoid making mistakes. Also, exorcism, I'm sorry, I've been reading it as removal. My eyesight is bad, 600 degrees, thanks for pointing it out, senior. But I can modify the previous part for now. Please understand. 22 Maki's emotion, Gojo Satoru's enlightenment, seeking flowers. December 24th. On Christmas Eve, Gojo Satoru accepted a request from Kamo Noritoshi and arrived at one of the locations designated by Xia Youjie, Shinjuku. Accompanying him were several other Jujutsu sorcerers and a few assistant supervisors designated by Kamo Noritoshi. Waiting for Gojo Satoru here were several sorcerers under Xia Youjie. Gojo Satoru glanced at the opponent's combat power and casually said, there's someone who looks quite difficult to deal with. At the same time, the opponent also noticed them, representing Kamo Noritoshi. One of them, a foreigner wearing sunglasses and large earrings, stood on the rooftop, looking down at Gojo Satoru and the others. With a confident smile on his lips, he said, so, that's the guy with the bandages, huh? Our mission is to hold him back, right? As soon as the words fell, numerous high-level cursed spirits were released. Not seeing Xia Youjie's figure, Gojo Satoru fell into contemplation. Has that show-off not come to the front lines? Could it be that he went to Kyoto? If so, there should have been contact. While Gojo Satoru was pondering this, Assistant Supervisor Eiichi Kiyotaka rushed over in a panic. Gojo-sensei, there's something I need to report to you. What's wrong? Although it may not be the best timing, I think it's better to inform you sooner. It's about the investigation you arranged for Akatsu. Eiichi Kiyotaka quickly leaned in and began to tell Gojo Satoru about his investigation. On the other side, inside Jujutsu High School. While Bai Ye was wandering around the empty school, he ran into Zenin Maki, who was left behind to take care of the school and was throwing a tantrum. Seriously, why'd I have to stay here for such an important event? It's fine for the second-year students to go on the Kyoto expedition, and even Kugisaki went to support the third and fourth-year students in Shinjuku. Even Panda went because he was highly regarded by the principal. Why'd I have to stay behind at the school? Advertisement. Just because I don't have cursed energy, does that mean I can't see cursed spirits once I take off these crappy glasses? But I still want to become a higher-level sorcerer, and then I'll smack those guys in my family's face. And then completely destroy that trash heap of a Zenin family from the inside. After Maki finished venting, she put on her glasses and suddenly noticed an unfamiliar figure not far away, immediately becoming alert. Who are you? Before Maki could finish her sentence, her pupils dilated as she saw the unfamiliar figure instantly appear beside her. So fast, That was the only thought Maki had time to have. Bai Ye had already arrived by her side. She only saw a large hand gently resting on her shoulder. Thinking that she was about to be attacked, she didn't expect the stranger to say the most heartwarming words to her. Zenin Maki. You will achieve and even surpass this goal. I believe in you. Your honest attitude towards life and your strong inner self will make you even stronger. Work hard to train yourself. After Bai Ye finished speaking, he disappeared from Maki's sight. Meanwhile, Zenin Maki stood alone, stunned for a few seconds, and then her eyes became slightly moist. What the heck? I can't believe someone I don't even know said something like that. Am I stupid? Don't just casually feel like I've finally gained recognition? Maki wiped her moist eyes, then composed herself and prepared to find Akatsu, who was also staying at the high school. Just then, a powerful curse enveloped the entire high school. Born from darkness, darker than black, purify all impure residuals. Xia Youjie cast a spell on the high school. Akatsu and Maki both felt this powerful curse at the same time. The high school has been cursed. Who? Why? These thoughts echoed in both of their minds simultaneously. Advertisement at the same time, Bai Ye, who was also at the high school, felt the curse and calmly said, Xia Youjie, have you arrived? Bai Ye murmured softly. Then, outside of Xia Youjie's curse, Bai Ye cast another layer of curse. Just as Xia Youjie finished casting his curse, he sensed another wave of power, instantly shocked. Someone cast another curse outside of mine? Who? Could it be that my plan has been exposed by the high school? Shinjuku. After listening to Eiichi Kiyotaka's statement, Gojo Satoru was suddenly shocked, and a possibility emerged in his mind. Eiichi's true target is Akatsu. Xia Youjie is currently at Kaisen. There's no doubt about it. In an instant, he began to worry about Akatsu and Maki. But soon he calmed down, because the figure of Bai Ye appeared in his mind. He also remembered what Bai Ye had said to him. I always feel that Xia Youjie's true purpose in the night parade of 100 demons is not what he claims. Immediately, a look of sudden realization appeared on Gojo Satoru's face. So, Bai Ye sensei, this is what you meant, truly worthy of Bai Ye sensei, always ahead of me. To catch up to your footsteps, I still have a long way to go. Gojo Satoru couldn't help but exclaim, leaving everyone else present confused. Without giving any explanation, he instead said something unpredictable. With you at Kaisen, I have nothing to worry about. But, Gojo Satoru's gaze fell on the people opposite him and the group of cursed spirits. I really want to personally experience Bai Ye sensei's strength again. 23 invading the high school. Bai Ye mistakenly thought it was a brain flower, seeking flowers. Gojo Satoru's changes also caught the attention of the opposing side. What's wrong? Could it be that we've been noticed? One of Xia Youjie's female sorcerers under Xia Youjie's command looked worried and couldn't help but express her concern. Wearing sunglasses and large earrings hanging from his ears, Miguel also helplessly said, that's why I said we should have prepared a substitute for Xiaoyu to stand here. Didn't Xiaoyu-sama say it before? Inferior disguises will only backfire. After the female sorcerer finished speaking, she shouted towards the group of cursed spirits below, Mimi, Nana. Hearing the call from outside, the two people hidden inside the cursed spirits responded, what's wrong? The plan is advancing. It's time for battle. Upon hearing these words, the two of them had expressions like a predator eyeing its prey. We've been waiting for this moment. Without any hesitation, the two of them began to act according to the established plan, commanding the cursed spirits to cause destruction and attack non-sorcerers. As for Gojo Satoru, Miguel, wearing large earrings, also took out a specially made rope designed to restrain Gojo Satoru and started to act. Special grade. Your opponent is me. By announcing his target, he wanted to attract Gojo Satoru's attention. However, at this moment, Gojo Satoru had no intention of fighting them at all. He only wanted to quickly return to the battle with Bai Ye at the high-grade observation. Sorry, but I'm in a hurry. As Gojo Satoru coldly spoke, he tore off the bandage wrapped around his head, revealing a pair of eyes as dazzling as a starry sky. 6 eyes, inside the high-grade observation. Just finished setting up the formation, Xia Youjie, who had set up another layer of formation outside, regained his lazy expression after a brief surprise. Someone set up another layer of formation outside? This curse power. It's not Wushi's. If he's not here, no one can stop me. After saying that, he twisted his neck as if preparing himself. Looking at the approaching Zenin Maki with a somewhat disdainful expression. Oh, you're here? Advertisement? What's wrong? Can't handle it? Maki held a cursed tool with a vigilant expression. What about you? What are you doing? In response to Maki's question, Xia Youjie showed impatience on his face. Sorry, I don't have time to chat with monkeys. While speaking, he directly released a level 2 cursed spirit to deal with Maki, who was still a level 4 sorcerer. And he himself walked towards where Akatsu was. Facing a cursed spirit that was 2 levels higher than herself, Maki felt immense pressure. She tried to stop Xia Youjie's advance but was repeatedly disrupted by the cursed spirit. In just a few exchanges, she suffered heavy injuries, and even her reliance on the cursed tool was destroyed. More importantly, her right leg was already seriously injured. She couldn't fight against the level 2 cursed spirit in front of her, and even dodging was extremely difficult. However, the level 2 cursed spirit showed no intention of stopping and launched a final attack against her. Is this the end? Just as Maki was preparing to accept her defeat with a resentful expression, the cursed spirit that was about to attack her was instantly exorcised less than 10 centimeters away from her. Without any warning, in an instant. What happened? Maki's face was filled with astonishment. Just at that moment, she saw that familiar yet unfamiliar figure. Powerful and handsome, a figure that acknowledged her. So powerful, so handsome. A blush appeared on Zenon Maki's face. She watched Bai Ye pass by her as if she were looking at an idol. Did he save me? In another part of the college, still within the same vocational school, Xia Youjie had just walked a short distance. Just as Bai Ye exorcised the level 2 cursed spirit, he sensed that the cursed spirit he had released was also exorcised by someone. It was exorcised by her. That monkey is quite capable. It seems I underestimated you. Xia Youjie did not notice Bai Ye's curse power, but thought that Maki had exorcised the cursed spirit. Even if you exorcised that cursed spirit, you probably don't have the ability to come over here. Advertisement. But it's better to make sure. Good things come to those who wait. Xia Youjie released another low-level cursed spirit, intending to let it check the situation while he calmly continued to search for Akatsu Yuta. However, just a few seconds later, the cursed spirit he released was exorcised once again. Looks like someone else came back to save their comrade? You guys are something. Surprised by the fact that his cursed spirit was exorcised again, Xia Youjie appeared somewhat astonished. And at this moment, Bai Ye had already arrived in the nearby shadows of Xia Youjie. Even so, Xia Youjie still hadn't noticed anyone following him not far away. Wonderful. It's truly wonderful. Xia Youjie suddenly opened his arms, looking like he was enjoying himself. I am now so moved that I can't control myself. It's because of saving Akatsu that you hurried back, right? To sacrifice oneself for the sake of saving one's comrade. This compassion, admirable. In Xia Youjie's mind, Bai Ye's figure also appeared at this moment. The world I long for, the world I want to offer to that person. Now it's right in front of my eyes. Xia Youjie was so excited that he couldn't control his tears. And Bai Ye, listening to Xia Youjie's words from the shadows, couldn't help but furrow his brows slightly. That person. Could it be the brainflower that has taken over Xia Youjie's body, the mastermind behind the 9-phase diagram, Kamo Konran of the big 3 sorcerer families? 24 dazzling and powerful, Akatsu admires, seeking flowers. Just as Bai Ye was contemplating, Akatsu heard a commotion outside and ran out of the classroom. He happened to run into the injured Maki. Maki, are you okay? Akatsu exclaimed in panic. What happened to you, Maki? Akatsu asked, helping her sit on the nearby steps and giving her some simple first aid. What's going on here? Akatsu asked nervously, looking at the damaged ground from the battle. Akatsu. Run away, Maki urged. What's happening? Akatsu asked. The most vicious curse user, Getu Shoko, has come to the high school. Maki revealed, keeping her encounter with Bai Ye a secret. She didn't think Bai Ye would harm Akatsu. And the reason for that was because Bai Ye was too strong. If his target was also Akatsu, there would be no need for all this commotion. He could easily capture Akatsu right under their noses. That was Maki's judgment. Getu Shoko's target is likely you. Don't worry about me anymore. Akatsu, run away now, Maki pleaded. Despite Maki's continuous urging to escape, Akatsu had no intention of backing down. Instead, his heart was filled with anger towards Getu Shoko. I will never forgive anyone who harms my friends. This conviction suddenly surged in his mind. Ignoring Maki's calls, Akatsu grabbed the cursed tool given to him by Gojo Satoru and angrily rushed out to find Getu Shoko. Soon, the two of them met. The atmosphere immediately became tense. Meanwhile, Bai Ye chose to remain hidden in the shadows. Now is not the time to reveal myself. Bai Ye's gaze slightly hardened as he restrained his emotions. Because he knew that in order to resolve the curse on Riko Zenon, Akatsu must willingly and wholeheartedly accept her as a curse. Seeing Akatsu voluntarily reveal himself, Xia Youjie's mouth slightly curved upwards, but he spoke with a somewhat regretful tone. To be honest, I had hoped to spare your life, Akatsu. But unfortunately, everything I have done is for the future of the Jujutsu world. Think about it, how wonderful this world would be with only Jujutsu sorcerers and without those detestable monkeys. And such a world can be achieved by sacrificing just one person. You may not understand my actions now, but it's okay. After I create a completely new world, you will understand everything and agree with me. Advertisement, so please, sacrifice your own life. Dedicate yourself to the beautiful future of the Jujutsu world. Xia Youjie's words not only failed to gain any agreement from Akatsu, but instead made him even more angry. That kind of world may be beautiful, but I refuse. Without hesitation, Akatsu rejected Xia Youjie and directly summoned Riko Zenin. Come out, Riko. As soon as he finished speaking, Riko Zenin appeared behind Akatsu. This was Riko Zenin's second complete manifestation. The immense pressure of cursed energy instantly swept towards Xia Youjie, causing all the cursed spirits he had absorbed to feel fear, terror, and anger. Xia Youjie was not surprised at all, nor did he expect Akatsu to agree with his ideas. He didn't expect to gain everyone's agreement, but as long as he could gain the agreement of one person in the end, that would be enough. Open black lens bracket. As long as that esteemed person approves of my approach, everything will not be in vain. Close black lens bracket. The figure of Bai Ye once again appeared in Xia Youjie's mind. He is the person he admires from the bottom of his heart, the strongest person. That strength, even today, still makes him feel dazzling. Then, Xia Youjie said with a slight smile, then I have no choice but to kill you. I will slaughter you, Akatsu also roared at the same time. The battle is about to begin. Countless cursed spirits absorbed by Xia Youjie are released. Under the powerful curse power of Kamo Noritoshi, they angrily rush towards Akatsu Yuta. Forget about the quality for now, with just this quantity, what are you going to do? Curse Queen. Xia Youjie is also very much looking forward to Kamo Noritoshi's performance, who cannot fully understand her as the Curse Queen. Faced with such a large number of cursed spirits, Akatsu is somewhat worried about Maki's situation. He directly orders Noritoshi to move Maki to a safe location. However, it is precisely because of this action that Noritoshi almost falls into a rampage state. This is outrageous. It's so outrageous. Why does he always care about you, always care about you? Advertisement. Noritoshi directly grabs Maki in her hand, with blood vessels bulging all over her body. It seems like she is about to tear Maki apart in the next instant. Seeing Noritoshi so irritable for the first time, Akatsu himself becomes somewhat flustered. And at this moment, a voice sounds in his ear. Akatsu, don't panic, do as I say. Upon hearing this sudden voice that only Akatsu can hear, Akatsu is immediately startled and looks around but doesn't see anyone around. Because Bai Ye used Jujutsu to rewrite the surrounding environment. To outsiders, it is completely imperceptible. Even Xia Youjie did not notice any abnormalities. Soon, Bai Ye told Akatsu how to appease Rika. Without much thought, Akatsu followed Bai Ye's instructions directly. With a hint of anger, he looked at Rika and said, "What are you doing, Rika?" Feeling Akatsu's anger, Rika's movements instantly stopped, and she appeared somewhat afraid. Seeing that the method mentioned by the mysterious person was effective, Akatsu no longer hesitated and continued, "She is my benefactor. You should treat her even more carefully than you would treat butterflies and flowers." Hearing the anger in Akatsu's words, Rika became even more afraid, and her actions towards Maki became gentler. Carefully handing Maki to Akatsu, Rika was like a child who had done something wrong and was afraid of being abandoned by adults, constantly apologizing and following behind Akatsu. I'm sorry, please don't be angry. Don't hate me." While apologizing, tears began to well up in Rika's eyes, looking as pitiful as a child. Taking Maki from her, Akatsu did not immediately respond to Rika's apology. Instead, he felt a strong admiration and curiosity towards the mysterious person in his heart. Who is it? So amazing. Just 2 sentences stabilized Rika's out-of-control emotions. Could it be Gojo-sensei? No, this voice definitely isn't Gojo-sensei's. Could it be? Is it the person Gojo-sensei mentioned? Gojo-sensei's idol? 25 Bai Ye secretly guides, duplicates the spell, extreme swirl, seeking flowers. As Akatsu withdrew from his thoughts, he realized that Rika was still tearfully apologizing. Turning back, Akatsu gently looked at Rika and said, "I'm not angry, Rika. How could I dislike you?" After comforting Rika and dealing with Maki, Akatsu turned his gaze to Yuta and said to Rika, "Our enemy is that person over there." "Yuta. Do you hate him?" "Yes, I really hate him." Upon hearing Akatsu's words, Rika became excited, then, "I hate him too." Soon, Akatsu returned to the battlefield with Rika. Facing the many cursed spirits summoned by Yuta, Akatsu said to Rika, "Rika, use that." Their minds connected, Rika naturally knew what Akatsu was referring to. She quickly took out a horn with the imprints of Snake Eye and Fang. This was the cursed tool that Bai Ye had just given to Akatsu. Upon seeing the horn, Yuta was immediately shocked. That is The Inumaki family's curse mark. Not only Yuta, but Akatsu was also extremely shocked when he received this cursed tool. He was well aware of the function of this horn, but precisely because of that, he was shocked. Because he was certain that the person who gave him the cursed tool was definitely not Inumaki Toge. It was even less likely to be someone from the Inumaki family. However, despite that, the fact that this mysterious person could produce a cursed tool with the Inumaki family's curse mark was simply unbelievable. But without any hesitation, he picked up the horn and put it to his mouth, shouting directly, "Die." The curse instantly and accurately affected the cursed spirits summoned by Yuta. In an instant, almost all of the cursed spirits exploded. A single phrase exorcised these cursed spirits. At the same time, the horn with the curse mark shattered in that moment. Seeing that the cursed tool was destroyed due to his carelessness, Akatsu felt a bit self-blame and said, "What should I do? Is it because I'm still not proficient in cursed energy that the cursed tool was destroyed? Will that person blame me? He won't blame you. Just focus on dealing with the enemy in front of you." Just as Akatsu finished speaking, he heard Bai Ye's response in his ear, finally feeling relieved. On the other side, Xia Youjie was shocked by Akatsu's actions. It's truly amazing. The cursed words is a high-level jujutsu passed down through the generations of the Kugisaki family, yet this young boy who has been studying jujutsu for less than a year can easily use it. Xia Youjie's expression became somewhat serious. While taking out the cursed tool from within the cursed spirit, he said seriously, "It seems that the rabble can't do anything to you. I'll have to personally take action." Advertisement Akatsu also gripped the cursed tool with both hands and instructed Rika to coordinate with his movements. The battle was about to begin. Neither of them held back or hesitated, each move striking at the vital points of the other. Even in such a fierce and tense battle, Xia Youjie didn't forget his preaching. Human beings stand at the top of the food chain, yet they fantasize about higher beings and call them gods. Don't you find that ridiculous? Why bother fantasizing about those false gods and Buddhas? Don't we have jujutsu sorcerers? At this point, Xia Youjie's face was full of disdain. After blocking Akatsu's attacks, he continued to babble. In the end, it's proven that non-sorcerers just don't want to admit the existence superior to their own. What I hope for is not enlightenment, but voters. Just because of the difference in numbers, the strong are buried among the weak and even suffer from their bullying. The audacity of those monkeys makes me sick. After a round of battle, Akatsu gradually became accustomed to the life or death struggle. Indeed, what that mysterious person said was right. Only in this state can one grow quickly. I've already gotten used to Xia Youjie's rhythm. That mysterious person is really strong. Akatsu couldn't help but feel admiration for Bai Ye in his heart. Another intense exchange followed. Summer Oilgia was slightly surprised by Akatsu's rapid growth. Open black lens bracket. His reactions have become faster. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. He's growing so quickly. Close black lens bracket. Just as Summer Oilgia was surprised, Akatsu followed Bai Ye's orders and directly abandoned the cursed tool, punching Summer Oilgia in the face. The powerful impact sent Summer Oilgia flying several meters away. At this moment, Akatsu said, "I have only encountered one jujutsu sorcerer other than a high-level specialist. So I'm not sure whether what you're saying is right or wrong. But, in order to continue being friends with everyone, in order to feel like I should live in this world, in order to meet the idol that Gojo-sensei talked about, I must kill you." In response to Akatsu's determination, Summer Oilgia stood up and coldly said, "Then I will do my best to kill you too. I will not compromise on quality or quantity." While speaking, Summer Oilgia released the strongest cursed spirit he currently possessed in his hand. One of the confirmed 16 special-grade cursed spirits. Special-grade imaginary cursed spirit, incarnation Tamamo no Mei. At the same time, Rika also sensed a strong threat of cursed power and became somewhat excited. Advertisement before the release of the special-grade cursed spirit was over. Summer Oilgia continued, "In addition, I will merge all 4,461 cursed spirits I currently possess to deal with you as one entity. Cursed Spirit Manipulation Technique, Extreme Fan Vortex." As soon as Summer Oilgia finished speaking, Bai Ye received a system prompt. Successful rewriting of the technique, Extreme Fan Vortex. Bai Ye smiled slightly at the prompt. "Finally, I successfully rewrote this technique. In this way, not only can I gather the cursed spirits in my hand into one entity, creating a more powerful cursed spirit, but I can also extract useful and powerful techniques from them. Extreme Fan can be understood as the ultimate move of all techniques other than the Domain. Cursed Spirit Manipulation Technique, Extreme Fan Vortex, gathers all the previously absorbed cursed spirits into one entity and attacks the opponent with highly dense cursed power. Even when targeting a cursed spirit of rank 1 or higher with the technique Whirlpool, its true value will be revealed, which is the extraction of the curse technique. Of course, there are gains and losses. Although the whirlpool is powerful, it also sacrifices the greatest advantage of the cursed spirit's diverse techniques. However, for Bai Ye, who already possesses numerous jujutsu techniques, this is not a problem at all. Seeing Xia Youjie starting to get serious, Bai Ye calms his mind and secretly communicates with Akatsu, saying, "Akatsu, listen to me." Upon hearing the voice of this mysterious person again, Akatsu is instantly surprised and slightly delighted. To resolve Rika's curse, you must voluntarily give up everything and wholeheartedly accept becoming Rika, the curse. Then what should I do? In response to Akatsu's question, Bai Ye chooses the simplest and quickest way to explain. After listening to Bai Ye's words, Akatsu's face shows a look of understanding, and he suddenly turns around and embraces Rika, who is behind him. Shinjuku. Gojo Satoru still hasn't dealt with Miguel, appearing somewhat anxious. Damn it. If it weren't for that rope containing a very rare curse that disrupts my technique, I would have returned to Tokyo Metropolitan Magic Technical High School to observe Bai Ye's battle. Xia Youjie, you better not let me down. Don't be defeated by Teacher Bai Ye in one strike. I still want to learn more about Bai Ye's fighting style. Just thinking about it, Gojo Satoru becomes a little angry, and the others who came to support him in Shinjuku also noticed Gojo Satoru's mood. Oh no! Mr. Gojo is angry. As Gojo Satoru's opponent, Miguel instantly feels the pressure increase.